FIVEAA.
Showers and 16 today with the 6 o'clock news. I'm Mel Usher. Almost 1,700 properties are blacked out down south. It's affecting properties in Christie Downs, Christie's Beach, Noarlunga Centre, Noarlunga Downs and Port Noarlunga. SA Power Networks hopes to have everyone back online by 7:30. It's a poor report card for SA when it comes to the NAPLAN test results. No year level achieved the national average for reading, spelling, numeracy, grammar or punctuation. The best scores for SA came in years 3 and 5, while girls outperformed boys across all year levels in the 5 tests. We're welcoming the first major cruise liner in more than 2 years to Adelaide today. The Pacific Explorer is expected to dock around 7 a.m. The cruising industry was worth $5 billion a year in Australia before the pandemic. Well, Labor's first budget in almost a decade has not been well received, according to a new opinion poll. Michael Packey reports.
The budget, delivered by Treasurer Jim Chalmers, is the worst received since the Coalition's financial blueprint in 2014. According to the latest news poll, almost half of the 1,500 people surveyed believe they'll be worse off over the next year. But they don't think the opposition would have done any better. While many voters say the budget fails to address cost of living, about 31% argue budget repair has been ignored. The poll also shows support is starting to wane for Labor and the Prime Minister.
Optus is shedding customers in the wake of the data breach. At least 10% have left the company since the cyber attack. The annual EFTM mobile phone survey finding a further 56% of Optus customers are considering changing telcos. The Royal Commission into the government's robo-debt scheme will begin hearings today in Brisbane. Brian Wilson has more.
The controversial scheme started in 2015 using complex algorithms to estimate, calculate and allege debts owing to Centrelink from welfare recipients, including students. The scheme was scrapped in 2020 after it was revealed almost 500,000 of the alleged debts were incorrect. The Commonwealth recently paid $112 million in compensation to around 400,000 individuals in settlement of a class action. The initial hearings will probe the design and management of the scheme. Later sessions will gather evidence from people affected by the program. The Commission is expected to report in April next year.
At least 68 people have died after a suspension bridge collapsed in India. More than 400 people were on the footbridge in the country's west when it gave way, plunging them into the water. It comes just days after the bridge was reopened following repairs. Questions are being asked as to whether adequate safety precautions were in place at a deadly Halloween celebration in South Korea. An Australian was among more than 150 people killed as a crowd grew in a narrow alleyway in Seoul. A national day of mourning has been declared. And The Rock remains king of the US box office. Black Adam has clocked up a second weekend at number 1, taking another $27 million. Now to FIVEAA Sport.
All new 2022 Mitsubishi Outlander with 10-year warranty, 10 years capped price servicing at Agostino Mitsubishi.
And it's good morning to Tom Wren.
And a very good morning to you as well, Mel. Let's start with some cricket. Australia won't be taking Ireland lightly when the pair go head-to-head in the T20 World Cup at the Gabba. The hosts must win their remaining 2 pool matches to be any chance of making the knockout stages. Captain Aaron Finch says the opposition must be respected.
They've got some seriously talented players. They've got a lot of experience, especially at the top of the order as well. So they're never a team that you can take lightly. If the wicket's got anything in it, they've got very good bowlers to maximise that as well.
Also at the Gabba, Bangladesh beat Zimbabwe in a thriller by 3 runs. Pakistan smashed the Netherlands in Perth by 6 wickets. And South Africa came out on top against India, also in Perth, winning last night by 5 wickets, but with only 2 balls to spare. To soccer now, Adelaide United has recorded its first win of the season after beating Perth Glory 2-1 at home. The result lifts the Reds into 6th spot after the opening 4 rounds. Meantime, in the English Premier League, Manchester United has jumped up to 5th after a 1-0 win against West Ham, while Arsenal is back on top of the table following a 5-0 rout of Nottingham Forest. Port Adelaide has finished its season with a 27-point loss in the AFLW, meaning the Power finished in 17th spot. The Crows, though, finished in 3rd and will now prepare for their qualifying final against Melbourne on Friday night. The Australian Diamonds have wrapped up their netball series against the England Roses with a 56-48 goal win in Sydney. And Shane van Gisbergen has won his 5th race in a row, the 2nd of 2 at the Gold Coast and 21st of the season from pole position yesterday. It helped Red Bull Ample Racing clinch the team's championship for a 2nd year running. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now the 5AA forecast.
See any issue firsthand with AutoCam. Real-time video, direct to you from your Automasters technician.
Showers and 16 today, showers tomorrow 15, Wednesday a shower or 2 and 17. Right now it's 14 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
To book a free 15-minute hearing check, specsavers.com.au/hearing. T's and C's apply.
Breakfast on 5AA. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
6 after 6. Good morning to you on this Monday, the 31st of October. David, good morning.
Good morning, Liz. Welcome back to Adelaide. Big weekend for us. We went over to the annual ACRA Awards, the radio awards that they hold.
I feel like I've seen a lot of you the last 2 weeks.
I know.
Nothing wrong with that.
No, we've become joined at the head, Liz. Went to the state together with the rest of the gang here from 5AA and Nova. Geez, that night though, my God, I'm just still marvelling at the horror of it all. Flying halfway across the country to watch Kyle Sandilands being feted as some kind of ornament to this great industry. I felt physically sick watching him being inducted into the Hall of Fame or whatever it was. And as for the crowd, my God, like the people, not the entire crowd obviously, because there are a lot of excellent people there who work in radio, but dead set. Like, what's the collective IQ of a Kyle Sandilands sort of coterie?
There was one bit of his speech I did not appreciate where he fat-shamed his co-host and said, well, you've stacked on the kilos.
Just extraordinary, isn't it?
And to the jeering crowd, he said, no, well, we both have. We're both fat now. I felt like it was a very unnecessary comment.
Yeah. Well,
in all aspects.
I don't know. I just don't see you get to the point where you regard any of that as funny. But why do people listen to it, though? That's the thing that really troubles me. I suppose part of it is like, left to their own devices, human beings behave in an unusual way. Like, I know, like, editing that website, news.com, you could put up 100 stories a day, and you'd put up, like, a whole bunch of stories that were very important and worthy. Federal budget, what it means for you, outrage over sentencing in case X, the projections for interest rates over the next 12 months, and the number one most clicked on story that day would be that a 2-headed dog had been found in Namibia.
I guess we're in the business of entertaining people, and if some people find that entertaining,
we just go about it differently.
We just do it differently.
Anyway, good luck to him. Good luck to him.
It was a
ornament to the industry.
It was a really fun night, though. Will missed out. He's still on a few more days of paternity leave, but it was good. Our table.
Yeah, we had a great time. And it's good to get away with work people in a different setting, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, though, the weather in Sydney, after the garbage weather we've had here, and also after the garbage weather they've had in Sydney for so long with all the floods and rain and what have you, Sydney turned on a show weather-wise on the weekend. It was sort of like 23 and not a cloud in the sky. We were staying near Hyde Park.
We had a few extra hours to explore. It was genuinely a 24-hour turnaround.
It was. But coming back here yesterday, I actually felt like I landed in Sydney. Like, it was so muggy. Yep. But windy, and, I was talking to Mum yesterday. She said she was going out for lunch with Dad with some friends, and she said, I got up Sunday morning, I thought, it's cold, is it going to be wet? No, hang on, it's humid. Like, it was the craziest day, and it's only going to get crazier by the sounds today.
6 to 20 mils still forecast for today, top of 16, they're saying. Well, thankfully we're not in Melbourne. Melbourne Cup is tomorrow. They're on snow watch for Melbourne Cup tomorrow.
Isn't it going to be 12?
Yeah, something ridiculous.
12.
After Flemington had their own flood issues only weeks ago, and now they're on snow watch for the one race that supposedly stops the nation.
The race that slops the nation if they get that much rain. It's going to be terrible. Do you get into the punting, Liz?
No, not at all. I actually am so out of the punting world, I wouldn't even know how to place a bet. Like, I don't know how to properly read the odds. I know the lower the better. The lower is the better the thing is.
The thing.
In any
what
situation.
are the things at Flemington? Dogs, gallopers, or horses?
In racing, the horses.
The horses.
So short answer, no, I'm not a punter.
I'm not a punter. I haven't even got a betting app. But I know I've got a betting app that I used briefly years ago for one thing, but I've never put more money into it. But luckily we'll have Tommy Wren.
The big race. He'll give us all his tips, no doubt. Hey, if you
There's a horse I like. There is a horse I like, though.
Yes.
It's called Lunar Flare. And the reason I like it twofold, it's Australian, or threefold. And apparently it was a rubbish horse for a long time. Like, it took 7 years to learn how to behave.
So it's come good, and now it's our national horse in the race.
But the third thing, the people who own it, they're this excellent Italian-Australian family. And guess what they set up? La Serena tuna, which is the best tuna.
Yeah, the yellow tins.
Yeah, with that great Italian design. So they're the family who brought La Serena and also Lavazza coffee and also Legina tomatoes to Australia. 3 excellent products.
Well, we've got to get behind Lunar Flare.
Lunar Flare.
Gamble responsibly, of course, but Lunar Flare.
Tuna, canned tuna, La Serena.
Good news, though, talking of Melbourne Cup. On the show tomorrow, we're going to have a Melbourne Cup sweep, and McGain have chipped in $1,000.
How good is that?
So,
how good are McGain's?
Sold by McGain again, of course. If you are selling your home, McGain have families ready to go right now. So if tomorrow we'll be doing a draw.
Big thanks to Mike Dobbin. For
the horses, and someone will win $1,000 in the FIVEAA Breakfast Melbourne Cup sweep, thanks to McGain.
Big thanks to Mike Dobbin, and also, so I don't forget, big thanks to Steve from Lancashire, who has just started working as a baker at my local Goodwood bakery. And I got chatting to him on Friday after I bought an excellent steak, cheese and bacon pie. And he just said, I listen to your show all the time.
Ah.
And I said, well, Steve, you and I probably work at very similar hours.
I wonder if he's got any constructive feedback for us. I always like putting people on the spot when I meet them. Oh, I listen to your show. Cool. Give me some helpful comments. Where can I improve?
I got no constructive feedback from him about his pie. The pie was excellent.
I could really do with the pie. Hey, if you are down south, there are currently 5 outages affecting around 2,000 people, but the main outage is in the Christie Downs, Christie's Beach, Noarlunga Downs, Noarlunga Centre area. 1,700 people there looking to come back on your power around 7:30. The cause is still being investigated, but we'll keep an eye on that if you are in the southern suburbs. Now, David, you've booked in our 8:20 interview this morning. Would you like to discuss who it is? Adelaide Uni Bar.
This is good, yeah. This is fun. It's happening this Saturday night. The South Australian Music Hall of Fame is a relatively new thing that looks at musical acts and musical institutions that have made a big contribution to our cultural life in Australia. And this Saturday, the Uni Bar, which has been there for more than or almost 50 years, is going to be inducted into the Hall of Fame. Now, it's going to be, like, obviously it's a night of music. There's some great bands playing, including the local rock band Mark of Cain, who themselves were inducted into the Hall of Fame only about 2 months ago. But there's going to be a panel discussion at the start, and they've asked me to go along and host it. And there's going to be a whole bunch of different people there, who, one of whom was the very first promoter for the Uni Bar, and the first gig he ever booked was Billy Thorpe and the Aztecs in 1975.
Wow.
Taking you way back. But like the number of bands that have played there over the years is extraordinary. And we are also going to have a double pass to give away.
Excellent.
Which will be first call through type thing. Tell us what's the best show you ever saw at the Uni Bar.
After 8 o'clock, we will save that for. Also on the show this morning, we are heading to the Riverland. Timmy G with our sporting weekend update. David Woiwod over in the US. And of course, Koshi, it is a Monday morning. And excitingly, Christmas is not far away. I say that because the pageant is less now than 2 weeks away, and we have pageant tickets to also give away. So
we live to give.
Even though today is Halloween, the 31st of October, if we are giving away pageant tickets, it does mean Christmas is not far away.
Certainly not.
Which is good news to many who love the festive season, aka me.
Yeah, I like the festive season.
Love the festive season. Maybe it helps having a birthday in December as well.
Is your birthday in December?
It is. Mine and Sam both in December. One day apart.
You're kidding?
Not kidding.
Can you give me a close sort of, can you tell me when your birthday is?
Mine is the 10th, Sam's is the 11th.
Oh, you were born on my parents' wedding anniversary.
It's a great day, December 10.
10th of December.
If anyone has my birthday, please let me know about it.
10th of December.
Text
and
us on
Sam? 11th of
11th,
December.
yep.
See, I'll forget that, Lise, I'm sorry.
That's all right.
Guys are pretty crap at remembering birthdays, aren't they?
That's right. Yours is May 22nd, Will's is
How do you
July
know that?
the 5th.
How do you know that my birthday is May the 22nd?
It's what happens when you work with someone for apparently the last 2 weeks straight.
I work with you and I don't know you. I didn't even know your birthday was in December.
Yeah, that's all right. Well, you will learn it eventually, probably by the time we're all
meant to. I will not learn
move.
it eventually. If you ask me at 7:30, when's your... Oh, no, actually, you know what? I will remember your birthday because it's on my parents' wedding anniversary.
I should hope so.
I've only got one mate whose birthday I remember, and that's because he was born on September 11.
It's my auntie's birthday.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Birthdays. Well, today is Halloween, though.
Dad's is easy, December 25.
Oh, your dad has a Christmas birthday.
He's a Christmas baby.
Excellent.
Used to drive him mad as a kid. I wonder if any of our listeners are Christmas babies. But
Or Halloween babies today.
Halloween babies. Dad used to get people, like some of the stingier relatives would say, I sort of got you a birthday/Christmas present.
Yeah, I get that every year.
Like, if your birthday's on May 22, that never happens.
It's ridiculous.
No one gives you something wrapped up in Christmas paper with a little card that's 2 inches square with a sled on it that says to : from :
Yeah,
you get a real birthday card. You get a real birthday present.
You're preaching to the choir over here, David. It is
passionate agreement.
6:17, cold and wet out there already this morning. Back with news headlines after this.
Get a read on local dining. Get a read on when the sun will be shining. Get a read on today with The Advertiser. And enjoy full digital access for only $1 a week for the first 12 weeks. Minimum cost $4. Search The Advertiser offer today. Conditions apply.
The most innovative paintbrush has arrived. The Monarch Advanced Neo. Paint with focus, flow. It's like everything disappears and the painting happens with ease. Designed with ultra-tapered technology which picks up and releases up to 25% more paint. Easier, faster, with a smooth finish every time. Wall brushes, sash cutters, oval cutters and mini cutters in various sizes to tackle any and every project. Available now at all paint specialists. Monarch Advanced Neo.
Hello, I'm Susie Ellelman. Are you making excuses about your hearing health? Like it's too noisy or no, you're mumbling? Trust me, I know. I wear hearing aids now. Time to get your free copy of Australia's only independent consumer guide to hearing aids, packed full of information on choosing the right aids, how they work and what can cause hearing loss. Call 1800 693 277 now or visit connecthearing.com.au. No excuse not to.
What is small business? It's your local, people you know, a struggle, a smile, a few less smiles over the last few years. Small business needs you, and we all need small business. It's your morning coffee, a long lunch, that perfect gift. Small business is community. It supports workers, suppliers, families right across South Australia. Small business has a big heart, so go out and support small business. A message from the Government of South Australia.
Race into Tyre Power and take pole position during the Great Race Sale. The crew from Tyre Power is giving you the power to buy 3 and get 1 free on selected Kumho tyres. Put your pedal to the metal and visit tyrepower.com.au or call 13 21 91 during Tyre Power's Great Race Sale.
Introducing Australia's Most Wanted. Unanimously judged as Cars of the Year. The fully electric Kia EV6, winner of Wheels Car of the Year. And the Kia Sportage, Drives Car of the Year. To pick your side in this sibling rivalry, visit kia.com.au.
Kia, movement that inspires.
Kate Collins and Brendan Reglis, the faces you know and the team you can trust. 9 News, made in Adelaide for Adelaide.
To book a free 15-minute hearing check, specsavers.com.au/hearing. T's and C's apply.
Breakfast on 5AA. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
6:20 on your Cold and wintry Monday morning. Let's get to some news headlines. Cruising returns to Adelaide today. What a day for it. The Pacific Explorer is expected to dock around 7 o'clock in Port Adelaide. It is the first major cruise liner ship to dock in Adelaide in more than 2 years, of course, because of that old COVID. And it does mark the start of our cruising season here in SA, which is expected to generate $65 million in state economic activity.
Well, that's good. Good to see it back. I'm just reading, though, the marine wind warning. Strong wind warning for the Adelaide metropolitan waters, lower west coast, central coast, south central coast, Spencer Gulf, Gulf St Vincent, Investigator Strait, lower southeast coast. Might be a tough day to berth the large boat.
Tough cruise arrival. A tip-off from Australian intelligence has led to Hong Kong authorities seizing a major shipment of methamphetamine heading for our shores. 1.8 tonnes of the drug was discovered inside cartons of coconut water bound for Australia. The haul would have had a street value of $1.6 billion, but is likely connected to South American drug rings.
1.8 billion. No, is that what you said?
Sorry, 1.8 tonnes.
1.8 tonnes.
Worth $1.6 billion.
My God. What an industry.
Yeah.
Amazing piece in the Australian over the weekend about a new book that's come out about HSBC, the worldwide British-backed bank, and how it fell in with the Sinaloa cartel, the one headed up by El Chapo, where they had like a few branches in northern Mexico where locals started making deposits that normally would be regarded as suspicious. There was one deposit, some little campesino guy wearing a sombrero came in and banked $933 million.
Oh, yeah.
No questions asked. Isn't that incredible?
Different life, isn't it?
$933 million.
The Federal Energy Minister says laws to lower power prices will come as soon as possible, but he will not rush a decision. The government has hinted it will consider a price cap, which it's being urged to implement by November. But Chris Bowen says it is important the legislation works in harmony with state and territory policy.
Every single state and territory minister 100% agree with that approach, all of them. Labor, Liberal and Green, and they're all represented around that Energy Minister's table. This is what I've tried to do since becoming Energy Minister in May, to work very cooperatively, closely with my state and territory colleagues.
Interesting news poll today, which we'll talk about in some detail later on, showing public opinion about the federal budget, the lowest regarded budget since the one Phil Curry alluded to last week, namely the 2014 Tony Abbott austerity budget. People think this one's a stinker in terms of what it's going to do for their cost of living.
Definitely. Cold and wintry, we said today it was going to be top of 16 showers expected, 95% chance of very high showers, 6 to 20 mils. But in good news, it's time for our sports section with Tom Wren, the all-new 2022 Mitsubishi Outlander with a 10-year warranty, 10 years cap price servicing, Agostino Mitsubishi. Morning, Rennie.
Morning to you, Lucy. Morning, David. I hope you had a great weekend. Let's drill down on who had a great weekend and who didn't have such a good weekend with our winners and losers for the sport over the last couple of days. Adelaide United will give them a big tick, so they had their first win of the season yesterday at home against Perth Glory.
2-1.
2-1 at home, so good result there for the Reds, which was nice to see. I'll give the Crows women, the footballers, a big tick. They've finished in the top 4. They did what they had to on Saturday against St Kilda, so they won by 16 points, which is a great result.
So they finished third.
Third, they take on Melbourne, grand final rematch Friday night over in Victoria. So the big story this week will be Chelsea Randall. Does she come back?
She's still out, isn't she?
She is. They said 3 to 5 weeks. This would be 3 weeks on the weekend coming up. Look, she would know better than anyone, and the club, the doctors, but I would give her one more. I wouldn't rush her back for fear of risking, her missing the entire final series. I know what she's like, though. She'll put her hand up to play.
It's sudden death for them now.
No, it's not. No,
no. They've got a
double chance.
Oh, okay, top 4, cool.
Yeah, so they can afford to lose one. I mean, you'd rather go through, but big game. Shane Van Gisbergen, he's wrapped up the V8 Championship. Great weekend for him. He's won 5 in a row, 21 for the season, absolutely dominating. And I'm going to give, on the theme of the golf day, which I know you're going to today, David, Lucy, are you playing?
Absolutely not. No, no one needs to see my poor attempt at golf.
No, I'm sure you'd be fine.
Why do they have to see mine?
Well, there's a young man called Harrison Crowe who's won the Australasian Amateur Championship in Thailand overnight. He's only the 3rd Aussie to do it. It means he gets to play. He's not a pro yet, so he's not earning cash. 21, he gets to play at next year's Masters, the US Masters, and also the British Open, the Open Championship. So that's a huge thing for him, which is great. Losers, the Adelaide 36ers. I went on Friday night. They were dreadful against New Zealand. They were much better yesterday, but they still lost in overtime. So back-to-back losses is really disappointing for the Sixers, given what we think they're capable of. Liverpool, they continue to really disappoint as well. They went down again on the weekend to Leeds, my boys. That was the only positive. Leeds had a win, which is great. And the Brooklyn Nets, that's where Paddy Mills and Ben Simmons play. They're a mess. They're 1-5. Simmons is playing atrociously, still can't shoot.
Wasn't he? All the talk a couple of weeks ago was that Simmons was about to really get back to what it was that made him great and prove the doubters wrong.
It's not happening. And Steve Nash, the coach, is already being talked about as, cannon fodder. He could, be shown the door anytime. This team is struggling, and they've got some head cases in their team. Kyrie Irving is being linked with anti-Semitic comments, isn't backing down from them.
You're kidding.
And not only that...
He's the Kanye West of basketball.
No, it is wild what is going on over there at the moment, like in America generally, but Kyrie Irving right now, I mean, if the listeners have any time, just look it up. They are an absolute shambles, the Brooklyn Nets, and there's two Aussies, that are in amongst all of that, so I think things are about to implode fully there. So they're my other loser.
Good sports wrap, Rennie.
Now we're going to get into the cup. We're going to get into the cup big time with you tomorrow. Have you got any early tips though?
I mean,
I'm on Lunar Flare.
Yeah, I don't mind that. I mean, I was hot for Loft, but that's been scratched over the weekend, which is really disappointing. So I'll have a good look. I mean, it's not usually a favourite race because there's so much that can happen in a 24-horse field over 2 miles. But let's go over it with a fine-tooth comb tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll do a trifecta.
Yeah,
and we're going to have the sweep as well.
The McGain breakfast sweep with $1,000 the winner takes.
Mike Dobbin, knowing him, he will be in on that from McGain. So, yes, let's definitely do that. Love it.
Thank you, Rennie. Coming up after the 6:30 news, we are heading up to the Riverland. The rain is on the way. Endless risks up there. And now the ferries potentially closing. But here comes 5AA News.
You want to shut out the wind and rain in winter, or the sun, flies and mozzies in summer, but you don't want to sacrifice your view? Then you need Phantom Screens. For protection from sun, wind and rain all year round, Phantom's SA-made outdoor motorised blinds can span up to 12 metres wide. They offer effortless automation, a blind that's there 1 minute and gone the next. From the hills to the coast and everywhere in between, choose Phantom Screens. Get inspired online at phantomscreens.com.au.
Ray White, big name in real estate, but also the biggest name in business broking. What makes us big? Our people, like Brett Buckley and his team. MBA, lecturer, and multi-time SA Business Broker of the Year. Brett doesn't just read a P&L, he feels it. If you're selling or expanding your business, Brett can take your business apart and find you more money. And we're not talking small change. Go on, touch base with Brett. Search Ray White Business Sales SA.
A once-in-a-lifetime experience. The most emotional dance event of the year. The United Ukrainian Ballet. In Swan Lake, the world's most loved ballet. Due to huge demand, new show just released. The Strictly Limited season opens Wednesday, November 9. Swan Lake at the Adelaide Festival Centre. Selling fast. Book today at Ticketek.
Good pals are hard to find, but at Parafield Airport Liquor Store, hard to find is our specialty. Whether you're after old reliable pals or want some new pals, Sam, Jamie and the team know just the pals for you. They've made pals with over 200 gins, over 300 craft beers, over 500 whiskies from around the world, and over 2,000 wines. Parafield Airport Liquor Store, Pals, open till late 7 days, next to Roulette's Tavern, Kings Road, Parafield.
When shopping around for hearing aids, the main sound you'll hear is... But not at Specsavers, where you don't have to pay top dollar for top-of-the-range hearing aids. Just book a free 15-minute hearing check at specsavers.com.au/hearing. Then maybe you could use those savings to hear something more pleasant like... Should have gone to Specsavers. Conditions apply.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube. This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Showers and 16 today with the 6:30 news. I'm Mel Usher. A pocket of suburbs south of the city are without power this morning. The blackout is impacting almost 1,700 properties in Christie Downs, Christie's Beach, Noarlunga Centre, Noarlunga Downs and Port Noarlunga. Crews are working to have the problem fixed by 7:30. Alarming results in the latest round of NAPLAN testing in SA. No year level achieved the national average for reading, spelling, numeracy, grammar or punctuation. The state government will introduce a new mathematics improvement strategy with an increased emphasis on numeracy and mathematics in the foundation years. Labor's first budget in almost a decade has failed the hip pocket test, with most voters giving it the thumbs down. Michael Packey has the details.
The latest news polls show support for Jim Chalmers' first budget as the nation's new treasurer has missed the mark, with almost half the 1,500 people surveyed believing they'll be worse off next year, especially as higher energy prices kick in. Labor is defending its financial blueprint, arguing it delivers targeted cost of living measures as well as reining in some spending. The poll also shows the opposition and Liberal leader Peter Dutton are making steady ground over the federal government.
More than 1 in 2 Optus customers are contemplating changing telcos in the wake of the data breach. The annual EFTM mobile phone survey finding 56% of current customers answered yes when asked if they were considering making the switch. 10% have already done so. At least 80 people have been killed in a bridge collapse in India. Brett McLeod has more.
Hundreds of people are believed to have been on the bridge in the town of Morbi when it collapsed into the river below. Many people were left clinging to cables while they waited for rescue. Prime Minister Modi, who was on a 3-day visit to the state, says he's deeply saddened by the tragedy. The 230-metre 19th century bridge had only just reopened after a 6-month renovation.
It's Halloween, an event which gets more popular in Australia every year. We've spent an estimated $430 million on decorations and other Halloween items in 2022. Senior Constable Dave Muir says police have downloadable signs for your fence or front door for trick-or-treaters.
If you want to welcome some little ghosts and ghouls, you can download the Trick-or-Treaters Welcome poster. There's a link on our Facebook post. Similarly, there's one if you're not into tricking or treating. There's also a poster you can download from our website. Again, another link there for you, and you can display those at your house if you wish to.
Now turning to 5AA Sport.
10-year warranty and 10-year capped price servicing at Agostino Mitsubishi, Nailsworth and Elizabeth.
Here's Tom Wren.
Thank you for that, Mel. It's a huge night this evening for Australia's cricketers at the Gabba as they look to keep their T20 World Cup campaign alive with a big win against Ireland. The two sides to meet at the Gabba tonight. 3 games yesterday. Bangladesh 3-run winners against Zimbabwe. Pakistan smashed the Netherlands by 6 wickets, while South Africa upset India by 5 wickets. A bad weekend for the Adelaide 36ers, going down in overtime yesterday to the southeast Melbourne Phoenix. The Sixers came back from 16 points down to force the game into OT, but couldn't keep their momentum going, losing 103-98. The Sixers were also smashed at home on Friday night by New Zealand, 99-70. Well, Adelaide United secured its first win of the season after taking care of the Perth Glory 2-1. The result means the Reds are up to 6th spot. Meantime, Manchester United has continued its solid form in the English Premier League after beating West Ham 1-0 at home, the winner coming late in the first half.
Rashford coming in! Bullet! He thundered it home, and the breakthrough comes for Manchester United.
Our audio there thanks to Optus. One other game overnight with Arsenal crushing Nottingham Forest 5-0. Well, the Formula One's Mexican Grand Prix is underway. Max Verstappen has started from pole, while Aussie Daniel Ricciardo started from 11th on the grid. And YouTuber turned boxer Jake Paul has defeated UFC legend Anderson Silva in a unanimous decision. He's now calling out another UFC champion, Nat Diaz, and boxing great Canelo Alvarez.
You too, Canelo. You guys said, oh, you can't beat someone, you can't beat a striker, you can't beat a legend like Anderson Silva. I just did it. So why can't I beat Canelo?
Audio courtesy of Showtime Sports. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now the 5AA forecast.
See any issue firsthand with AutoCam. Real-time video, direct to you from your Automasters technician.
16 today with showers tomorrow 15, Wednesday a shower or 2 and 17. Right now it's 14 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
To book a free 15-minute hearing check, specsavers.com.au/hearing. T's and C's apply.
Breakfast on 5AA. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
6:35 on your Monday morning. David and Lucy again in the chairs today. Will's having a few extra days of paternity leave with little Rosie.
Bonding
Time, so
Yep.
they say. They were watching some basketball the other day, I believe, starting it early. 1 week old, and
She's a massive Pacers fan.
she
Rosie. Always has been.
loves the NBA.
Loves her Indiana Pacers.
Remember, you can tune into us on the Foodland Supermarket Facebook and YouTube live stream. Got a couple of comments on there already. Paul says, my father's 83rd birthday is today. He immigrated to Australia in 1956 from Italy.
Molto bene. Happy birthday, Paul's dad.
Kate Burton, my brother's birthday is today. Thank you, Kate. It is Halloween, so we're asking for Halloween birthdays. And on the text line, from Mr. Clayton, my nan was born and died on Halloween, 83 years apart. She was a beautiful memory of my childhood. Well, Mr. Clayton, a happy birthday and condolences to you on this anniversary day.
I tell you what, disturbing reading the front page of yesterday's Sunday Mail, looking at the possible impact of the surging waters in the River Murray and the impact that could have on the many ferries that keep our Murray River communities connected. I remember talking a few weeks ago to some of the families in Mannum, people who are now in their late 70s and 80s who as little kids have memories of the 1956 floods. After that flood in Mannum, the punt, which took people, when still does take people back and forth from one side of the river to the other, was closed until February 1957. Leon Stavanowski is the mayor of the Loxton Waikerie District Council, and we have him on the line now. Leon, these ferries are vital to keep communities together, aren't they?
Yes, they sure are. It's their some of them only means of transport to go to work and also get their children to school as well. And but most importantly for essential services, like whether it be police, ambulance or SES or what have you. So, yes, it certainly puts a spanner in the works when they go out.
Because I don't think city people actually really understand. Like, it's not like you can just drive a few k's down the road to find a new way of crossing the river. Like, in some places it means hundreds and hundreds of kilometres, doesn't it?
Yes, that's correct. It's probably... well, especially at Waikerie there, you have to go down to Cadell and then back around and up to Waikerie, or you go up to the Kingston Bridge, which you have to virtually go right up to the Barmah, Cobdobber, cut through there and back around. And that'll probably put on an extra 80 kilometres. Yeah.
So what's the assessment at the moment? Because it seems to be moving around a bit, doesn't it?
Well, the biggest problem is we're having these rain events going through and other ones coming down from the north into the state, and all the rivers are flowing, and that hasn't happened for a long time. And so it's a little bit of, how much is going to come and how much more rain's still going to come before it hits here, because it's a few weeks away before those peaks get here, but it's how much rain and happens in that catchment area it happens in between. So we don't know exactly. They've got a reasonable idea, but the more rain they have in those areas on top of what's already there, the flow gets even higher. So if it keeps raining, we don't know, because the biggest thing is that all the low-lying areas are saturated now. So whatever rain happens, it's just going to run down and come out down past us.
Mayor, how's the clean-up going? Is it LIRIP or LIRIP? They were featured heavily in the paper last week with just absolute homes drenched and knee-deep water. How are the sentiments of the residents who are needing to do clean-up already?
Yeah, well, that's not happening by the water that's coming down the river. We had 100 mil of rain in a short time last weekend before, and that actually flooded inside the areas, and with the high river, it sort of impeded the water and getting away, and then blocked drains and that. And people are getting on and cleaning that. That was only sort of minor to what is actually coming down the river. It's an inconvenience for sure, but yes, it's the big one from outside. That look, people, we've got plenty of notice. We've had all our mayors and CEOs have had meetings with the government hierarchy and the minister last Thursday, and they've reassured us that they're doing everything they will to help us. So that's certainly reassuring for us as council, so we can then get on now without mapping as to where the levels are likely to be at certain rates of water coming down. So that's a plus that we've never had before, and to forewarn residents out there as to what how much danger they could be in.
Thanks. Thank you so much for joining us, Mayor of Loxton and Waikerie District Council, Leon Stavanowski there.
Fingers crossed.
So the ferries that could close are likely to close. Waikerie, Morgan, Lirrup, Mannum upstream, Mannum downstream, Walker Flat and Swan Reach, but Cadell and Purnong are both at low risk of closing.
So if the Mannum ferry closed and you had to get to Murray Bridge, instead of going on the ferry over to the eastern side of town and then driving through, you'd have to drive back down to the freeway to drive over the main bridge.
Yep,
it would be chaotic for people.
They're saying as well that Tailem Bend, Wellington and Narung ferries also unlikely to close.
Lirrup. You were right, it is Lirrup.
Did I say Lirrup?
Yeah, you asked out loud Lirrup or Lyrup.
Yeah.
But you were right the first time, Lirrup.
Oh, that's good.
I mainly know that. Well, I've been there. It's a beautiful town. But a mate of mine was in a band called Lirrup Syrup.
Yeah, I think immediately of maple syrup when I hear the township of Lirrup.
I don't know why they were called Lirrup Syrup. I think he grew up there. So he named his rock band after his hometown.
Rhyming is nice on the brain though, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
If you are in the southern suburbs this morning, Christie Downs, Christie's Beach, Noarlunga Centre, Noarlunga Downs, Port Noarlunga, there are 1,700 of you currently without power. SA Power Networks is investigating the cause so far undetermined. Power hopefully will be on around 7:30 this morning for you. SA Power Network crews are headed to the area to see what is going on. Remember as well, you can text us in on the show, 0448 08 1395, whatever you like. We welcome all topics of conversation, or give us a ring, 8223 0000. If you'd like to foresee David's golfing abilities today at the FIVEAA Golf Day.
I tell you what.
He'll take any tips.
I hope we don't get any lightning, because that could put a bit of a spanner in the works of the golf. But we it's like the old US Postal Service, rail heat or snow, rain, sleet or snow. We are going to power on regardless, although anything vaguely tropical will put a stop to things, I think, if we do get thunderstorms. Although we'll get the full details shortly from our good friends at the Weather Bureau. The forecast was for dangerous winds, but it's not anymore.
They've taken it down a notch.
It's still for extreme winds.
Yeah, watch and act.
Yeah. But it sounds like the real thunderstorm activity hopefully is going to be happening to the north of the state, not to the metropolitan area, but it's a pretty unpredictable weather pattern at the moment.
Definitely stay safe if you are out there on the roads this morning. It is grey, overcast, a little bit slippery, and lights on, wits about you. Let's check traffic though for the first time this morning. Secure the last 2-bedroom penthouse at Adelaide's most sought-after address. Visit 88o'connell.com.
Thanks, Lucy, and good morning. At Christie's Beach, got traffic lights out of action there, Beach Road and Dyson Road. Got a lane closed at Happy Valley today. That's slow going at the moment, down to 40 k's. Happy Valley Drive near Manning Road. Getting busy at Fullerton for the intersection upgrade of Fullerton Road and Cross Road. That does get pretty slow throughout the morning. And keep an eye out for cameras today. Grand Junction Road, Rosewater, and Port Road at Cheltenham. The Guzmani Gomez Minis range. Mini burritos, bowls, nachos and more from only $8.70. It's cheaper than cooking at home. Grab your GYG Mini today. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Everyday low prices, any time of year. Trust the mighty South Aussies. Great food.
You're watching the 5AA live stream, thanks to Foodland.
Mighty South Aussies, yeah.
Give us a call on 1300 Mannix or follow the jingle and go online anytime.
How far would you go for your dream kitchen? And how far would you go to get 25% off? How about 15 minutes up the freeway to Balhanna Kitchens by Design? To the largest showroom in the Adelaide Hills. Custom build your dream with our award-winning designers. And get 25% off your cabinets with laminate bench tops. For a limited time, of course. Balhanna Kitchens by Design. It's not too far to go to make your dream a reality. balhanakitchens.com.au.
Now, it's been one of the wettest winters in a long time, but once we start getting a run of sunny spring days, whenever it is that is allegedly going to happen, your patch of lawn and your garden is going to be a jungle in no time. I actually noticed yesterday the lawn needs a bit of a trim, so what I might have to do is head back out again to catch up with my good friends at the excellent Stanford Mowers, Ben and Archie. I was out there only a few months ago. Now, Stanford Mowers, they've been helping South Aussies take care of their yards for years and years. So for you, if gardening, like it is for me, is more than a weekend pastime, or if you're really serious, you're a professional gardener or a hobby farmer, Stanford Mowers knows that the brands you love have been hard to come by over the last couple of years. Well, the good news is that right now, Stanford Mowers, they've replenished their stock, mowers, trimmers, blowers and much more, but don't wait around, grab them before they're gone. Keep your patch looking great with the range of premium brands at Stanford Mowers. So do what I do, go see them at 590 Main North Road, Jeps Cross, or check out stanfordmowers.com.au.
I'm Kathy Nagel, Chief Executive of Western Hospital Henley Beach. Cancer diagnosis is a traumatic and emotional life event, but we are here to help. Western Hospital offers a wide range of cancer services to those in the western suburbs and beyond. We pride ourselves on assisting our community for the past 25 years in the fight against cancer within our friendly chemotherapy unit. Experienced nursing staff are the cornerstone when providing outstanding care. Visit westernhospital.com.au.
It's Halloween at Coles with half-price treats for trick-or-treating, like Nestle Fun Packs 140 to 185 grams or Skittles Fun Size Packs 180 gram. Coles, value the Australian way. Offer ends Tuesday.
Kate Collins and Brenton Raglas, the faces you know and the team you can trust. 9 News, made in Adelaide for Adelaide.
To book a free 15-minute hearing check, specsavers.com.au/hearing. T's and C's apply.
Breakfast on 5AA. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
6:47. Cold and wintry out there, you can tell because my ski jacket is back on. You'll be able to see it on the Foodland Supermarket Facebook and YouTube live stream. The Douglas Mawson ski jacket has made an appearance back in studio now. Tom Bowick is at the Weather Bureau for us. Morning to you, Tom.
G'day, Lucy. G'day, Dave.
So, Tom, it's not. I'm going to beg to differ with my colleague here. It's not that cold yet, is it? But it's going to get colder.
Yeah, well, a pretty cool day coming up today, really. I mean, compared to yesterday when, a bit of an unusual day where we were sort of raining in the morning and then it sort of cleared away and temperature jumped up to 27.8 at 4 p.m. So it got
crazy.
Pretty warm yesterday. Yeah, unreal, eh? And then there was some shower and thunderstorm activity that sort of came through later. Not so much for the Adelaide area, but lots of other parts of the state did get some thunderstorms, and there were severe wind gusts and pockets of heavy rainfall as well. But for today, look, we're looking at a maximum back at 16 degrees. So we have had this sort of low and front move through, and now we're in the sort of westerly airstream behind it, which is much cooler. So settling back to much cooler conditions for today. And currently it's 14 degrees, and looking at a maximum of 16 for today, and the same for Glenelg and Noarlunga, 14 for Mount Barker, 15 degrees for Elizabeth. The cool conditions sort of continue for tomorrow with the sort of showers continuing. So we are expecting showers for today and tomorrow. Sort of cooler still for tomorrow. We're around about 15 degrees for a maximum temperature. Possibility of even a bit of small hail in some of those showers with a fairly cold atmosphere moving over us. Showery there. And as we move through the week, it will be easing, but temperatures only rising slowly. 17 for Wednesday and Thursday. 18 there for Friday, should be pretty well dry by then. And if you're after some warmer weather, looks good for next weekend. Dry conditions Saturday, Sunday, 23 for Saturday, 26 for next Sunday, guys.
Good stuff.
So you're saying, Tom, that if you are heading out to play golf today in Glenelg, you're in for 16 degrees and rain?
Yeah, showers, a bit windy, and there's going to be pretty cool conditions, so enjoy the golf.
Good on you, Tom.
Thank you, Tom. He's probably saying, rather us than him.
Yeah, that's right.
Rightly so. Let's head across to SAPOL. Dave Muir, Senior Constable, is on the line. Morning to you, Dave.
Good morning.
Drink drivers crashed twice in the northern suburbs.
Yeah, this was just before 11 o'clock last night. We got called to Keene Avenue, Monopara West, after reports of a two-car crash in the street. Now, the driver of a silver Toyota had actually left that crash scene shortly after the crash and before we actually arrived. Now, about an hour later, we got called to another crash, this time on Riggs Hill Road at Gawler South. And when we arrived there, we noticed a silver Toyota had left the road and actually crashed into a ditch. Now, that driver, 32-year-old Northern Suburbs man, had managed to crawl out of the car uninjured. Investigations revealed that this was the same car and driver involved in that earlier crash at Monopara West. He was breath tested and returned an alleged blood alcohol reading of 0.198, nearly 4 times the legal limit. He's been reported for aggravated driving without due care and drink driving. He'll be summoned to appear in court at a later date.
So it's the same car. It was his own car, Dave, and he pranked it twice.
Yeah, he was busy.
Jeez.
Yeah,
that's a big Sunday.
What
a halfwit. And also, what's the go with this rock slide at Montacute?
Yeah, this is. We're just asking motorists to avoid Gorge Road at the moment on the down track. We've got crews there, or police crews there at the moment, after reports a large boulder is actually partially blocking the road following a rock slide overnight. Now, we do have road transport crews making their way, but we're just letting motorists know to expect delays for some time this morning, as not only do they have to remove this boulder, but the road surface has also been damaged, so avoid that if you can.
And just finally, Dave, there's going to be a lot of kids running around tonight for Halloween. I noticed driving around my suburb last night, there were probably a good 20 homes that are already covered in cobwebs and so on. But I guess the message is for people to sort of keep their wits about themselves with kids running around everywhere.
Yeah, we've done a few posts on our Facebook page engaging with the public in relation to Halloween. As you were talking this morning, it's getting bigger and bigger each year in Australia. So we are saying if you're heading out with your kids, set up a safe house arrangement in your neighbourhood, a plan of the houses that you're going to visit on the night. Only accept wrapped or sealed sweets. Now, not everyone says booyah to trick-or-treaters. That's terrible, isn't it?
You tried.
Yeah, I know, I tried. Please be respectful, including you laughing at me.
Sorry.
Dave. Please be respectful. Look out for the trick-or-treat welcome or not welcome posters. Now, we've got links on our Facebook page where you can download those if you want to put them up at your house. Be aware of the increased pedestrians on the roads, and if you're driving, stay off the booze.
Yes.
That one was better, Dave.
Thank you.
Much better.
Yeah. And remember, if there's something strange in your neighbourhood, who are you going to call? 131 444 for police assistance, or 000 an emergency.
Beautiful. Thank you, Dave. Senior Constable Dave Mewett there. Looking forward to Halloween every year as he does.
Now, you got that, didn't you, Liz? That was a Ghostbusters reference.
I did get it.
You have seen Ghostbusters?
I haven't, but I got the reference.
All right, excellent. Just checking. I thought I would have to add it to the list of movies. Well, it sounds like I do have to add it to the list of movies.
Yeah, add it on there. It is a growing list.
Yeah, it is.
Growing list. Now,
Well, I wouldn't put Ghostbusters forward as an absolute must-watch from the 80s, though.
getting in tune with the Halloween theme, I watched The Addams Family last night.
Never watched that. I've watched the TV show. I used to watch the TV show all the time. Never watched the remake, though.
Oh, add it to your list, Dave.
I will. You can start your own rival list.
We're going to head over to the US now. Going to chat about this devastating Halloween stampede that happened in Korea. David Woiwod for 7 News is over in Los Angeles. Morning, David.
Morning, guys. How you going?
Yeah, not too bad, thank you, but really sad to hear that an Australian's been killed in this stampede.
Yeah, and Aussie's been caught up in this awful crush, if you've seen the pictures. Look, this was a Halloween festival. It was attended by mostly people in their 20s, a very popular district there in South Korea. Look, the district, it was crammed with people, estimates at around 100,000, when it all just became too much. The crowd sort of locked in on itself, and the images are pretty distressing if you haven't seen them. People just couldn't move. They were going under in the crush, really dying on their feet, suffocating where they stood there. And then the grim reality is the emergency crews eventually started clearing out that crowd. 154 people dead and hundreds more injured, as you say. An Aussie among them, a woman confirmed dead. Other Aussies also injured, but friends of this woman, look, they've expressed their utter devastation at having watched losing her in this crush, and those messages of support have been flowing into Korea and that family, of course, but from all over the world, including the US President and the Australian Prime Minister in the past 24 hours, just shocking scenes.
So a national day of mourning has been now declared in South Korea. Do investigations immediately go to what safety protocols were in place?
Yes, exactly right. So that's all part of that investigation now, and this is a huge peacetime disaster, of course, for South Korea, so they've been looking at everything. This is a very popular festival, but then because of the pandemic, people obviously hadn't been doing it for the past few years, so they're putting it down to the added interest and the added excitement for people to be able to get out there and go to this event. So they've had a crowd that far exceeded those expectations. Clearly the area wasn't set up for it. Those response mechanisms, they weren't in place, and the cries for help from those people for emergency services. And you've seen these horrific pictures of those emergency crews as well, trying to really jag and rip people out of this crowd. But because they were so locked in there in this way because of the nature of these laneways, it was actually really difficult to clear them out, and that took a number of hours as well. So all of that will now be looked into by those authorities.
David, what's the latest out of the US on this sickening hammer attack on the wife of veteran Democrat and House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, obviously one of the most sort of noted small L liberal voices in the United States, someone who's clashed a lot with Donald Trump over policy issues. I just couldn't believe that story when I heard it on Friday.
Yeah, I think this has really shocked everyone. So Paul Pelosi, Nancy's husband, he was at home inside their San Francisco home on Friday. She was out on work business elsewhere around the country when someone has broken into his home. He was armed with a hammer. He's gone in there demanding, where is Nancy? Where is Nancy? Paul Pelosi, Nancy Pelosi's husband, has managed to call 911. He's got on to authorities there. They have quickly come around, but not before he has, as you say, assaulted Paul, and quite badly as well, hit him with this hammer. He had some skull fractures and other injuries as well. He was quickly taken to hospital. The good news there is that he's in an okay, stable condition. He's still in hospital at the moment. Look, in the past 12 hours, Nancy, she's released a statement as well saying that our children and our grandchildren and I are heartbroken and traumatised by the life-threatening attack on our pop. We're grateful for the quick response of law enforcement and emergency service. What it's really done is sort of highlighted that this growing trend, I suppose, for threats against elected officials and public officials here in America. And both sides, of course, out and about today on the Sunday programs here, Sunday morning in America, really pointing the finger at the rhetoric that's being used from both sides of politics. But really the major concern here is now Paul Pelosi might have escaped at this time, but where's it going to go next time?
Yeah, well, that's a very good question. David Woiwod, 7 News Live in LA. I mean, you think about that poor Labor MP in the UK who was stabbed to death at a town hall meeting. You think about, there's a pretty disturbing story in today's Australian about the Deputy Prime Minister, Richard Marles, who had some sort of very scary undisclosed incident recently, and now the AFP has had to give him extra security detail. And it points to the growing inability of people to agree to disagree. And you know, you type any subject into Twitter and you'll find thousands of people who are demonstrably stupid on the left and the right who just can't go, well, okay, I view things differently. You know, politics is sort of turning into this cult and blood sport, and you know, this, to be attacked inside your own home is hugely disturbing.
We'll be back with some more of the news stories of the morning right after the 7 o'clock news.
When shopping around for hearing aids, the main sound you'll hear is... But not at Specsavers, where you don't have to pay top dollar for top-of-the-range hearing aids. Just book a free 15-minute hearing check at specsavers.com.au/hearing. Then maybe you could use those savings to hear something more pleasant like... Should have gone to Specsavers. Conditions apply.
The AHASA Awards were held recently, and the team at Najobi would like to congratulate all of the nominees and winners, especially the restaurants and hotels that use their Najobi beef, the grass-fed, locally and ethically grown beef, pork and lamb. Najobi meat has won multiple awards, so if you're looking to add a little extra class and quality to your dish at home, try some. Order online from najobi.com.au or visit us at Adelaide Farmers Market every Sunday.
Toyota's creating the cars of the 21st century by harnessing the power of electricity.
Toyota's innovating transportation.
From hybrid electric technology
to hydrogen fuel cell innovation, we've been electrifying vehicles for over 25 years. From the Prius to the Camry, all the way to the Corolla Cross. And with over 300,000 driven by you, we're not done yet. Oh, what a feeling. Toyota.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube. Online, on DAB Digital Radio and on 1395 AM. Talking Adelaide. This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Showers and 16 today with the 7 o'clock news. I'm Mel Usher. Several suburbs south of the city are blacked out this morning. Almost 1,700 properties in Christie Downs, Christie's Beach, Noarlunga Centre, Noarlunga Downs and Port Noarlunga are offline. SA Power Networks hopes to have the outage fixed in the next half an hour. SA classrooms are in the spotlight today. The annual NAPLAN results have been labelled an overall fail, with no year level achieving the national average in any of the annual tests. Shadow Education Minister John Gardner, who looked after the portfolio under the previous government, says there are some positive signs.
Year 3 and 5 students have had the best reading and writing results since the tests began. Now Year 3s have also had their best results in spelling.
A man will appear in court after he allegedly crashed his car twice in an hour in the northern suburbs. Around 10:50 last night, there was a two-car crash on Keene Avenue at Manopara West. The driver of a silver Toyota took off before police arrived. An hour later, the same car ended up in a ditch on Riggs Hill Road at Gawler South, and the driver had managed to crawl out uninjured. A 32-year-old Elizabeth Vale man was breath tested and blew .198, nearly 4 times the legal limit. He's been charged with aggravated driving without due care and drink driving and will appear in court at a later date. Adelaide is hosting a cruise ship full of visitors today. P&O's Pacific Explorer has arrived and those on board will soon be heading to shore to explore SA. It's a milestone for the cruising industry in the wake of the pandemic, the first major liner to dock in our waters in more than 2 years. At least 80 people have died after a bridge collapse in India. Brett McLeod has more.
The 230-metre bridge in the town of Morbi was packed with hundreds of people during the Diwali festival when it gave way. The 19th century structure had only just reopened after a 6-month renovation. Survivors clung to cables from the collapsed bridge, while others managed to swim to safety. Prime Minister Modi says he's deeply saddened by the tragedy.
Nearly 2 tonnes of liquid meth hidden in coconut water has been seized with the help of Australian Federal Police. Officers based in Mexico informed Hong Kong authorities of a suspicious shipping container which was x-rayed and found to contain the drug. The AFP says the bust saved Australian communities from more than $700 million in drug-related harm. US President Joe Biden has cast an early vote in the midterm elections as his party fights to maintain control of the House and the Senate. Alison Petrowski is stateside.
With the midterm elections 8 days away, the US President cast his ballot at an early polling station in Delaware alongside his granddaughter Natalie, who was voting for the first time. Joe Biden says the attack on Paul Pelosi 2 days ago, husband of House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, is a reminder that democracy is under threat.
You can't condemn the violence unless you condemn those people who continue to argue the election was not real, that it's being stolen.
Pelosi's alleged attacker, David DePapi, faces charges of attempted homicide and assault with a deadly weapon. US security agencies have issued a heightened threat advisory warning of potential attacks on political candidates and election officials.
Now turning to 5AA Sport.
All new 2022 Mitsubishi Outlander with 10-year warranty. 10 years capped price servicing at Agostino Mitsubishi.
What's happening in the cricket, Tom Wren?
Well, Mel, Australia's T20 World Cup title hopes will go on the line tonight when they host Ireland at the Gabba. The Aussies need to finish in the top 2 in their group and are currently 4th, but they must finish in that top 2 to make it through to the semi-final, so need to win their final 2 games. To basketball, the Adelaide 36ers have suffered back-to-back losses after going down by 5 points in overtime. That was against the Southeast Melbourne Phoenix. In Port, Craig Randall had a game-high 28 points for the Sixers, but the Phoenix were too good when it counted. Trey Kell leading the way with 24 points for the home side.
Tired legs out there for both teams. Both played on Friday night. The Phoenix coming off a trip to Perth. Kell finds the bottom of the net.
Audio there thanks to ESPN. Let's go to soccer. Adelaide United's into the top 6 following a 2-1 win against the Perth Glory. Meantime, in the EPL, Arsenal's back on top following a 5-0 rout of Nottingham Forest, while Manchester United's up to 5th after beating West Ham 1-0 at Old Trafford. Well, punters are piling on the money for Melbourne Cup favourite Deauville Legend, who starts from barrier 9 in tomorrow's big race. Despite the forecast of cold and wet conditions, trainer James Ferguson is confident the horse will perform well.
I hope that everything is okay ground-wise, but I don't see it being a problem. We're full of hope, but it's a horse race at the end of the day and everything has to go right.
Last year's winning jockey James McDonald won't be riding in the Cup. He was to be on board the German import Loft, who was withdrawn after suffering a tendon injury. And the Mexican Grand Prix is underway with Max Verstappen leading the way ahead of Lewis Hamilton. Aussie Daniel Ricciardo is back in 12th. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
At Christie's Beach, there's a blackout affecting a few traffic lights today, including Beach Road at Dyson Road. Take it easy through there. You find lane closed and slowing things up this morning at Frueville. That's Glen Osmond Road near Fullerton Road. Getting busy, South Road at Edwardstown. And look out for cameras today, Clark to Receipton and Grange Road at Grange. For 2 days only, save up to 60% off upholstery, bedroom, mattresses and living at Amart. T's and C's apply. Offer ends tomorrow, so hurry into Amart. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Now the 5AA forecast.
See any issue firsthand with AutoCam. Real-time video, direct to you from your Automasters technician.
Heading for a top of 16 today with showers. Showers tomorrow 15, Wednesday a shower or two 17. Right now it's 14 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Here at 5AA, we're all about... To book a free 15-minute hearing check, specsavers.com.au/hearing. T's and C's apply.
Breakfast on 5AA. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
7 after 7. Good morning to you on this wintry feeling weather outside, top of 16, 6 to 20 mils of rain expected today. If you are heading along to the 5AA Golf Day, or any golf day for that matter, good luck to you.
I don't think there'll be too many that are still going ahead. We're mad enough not to cancel ours, though. Nothing will stop the 5AA Golf Day. And both Guy in Highgate and, coincidentally, Brenton have texted in on the Auto Masters text line with the same excellent anecdote, golf-related. Brenton says, if lightning is around today, Dave, while on the golf course, channel the great golfer from the 70s and 80s, Lee Trevino, a.k.a. Supermex, who was once seen walking the course in an electrical storm holding his one iron in the air, saying not even God can hit a one iron. Lee Trevino was terrific. He was on that excellent show, Pro Celebrity Golf, with Peter Alice. I used to like watching that as a kid.
We welcome all golf jokes and any jokes at all on the text line this morning, 044808 1395, or you can tune in on the Foodland Supermarkets Facebook and YouTube live stream. Let's get to some of the news stories of the morning, though. This first one I think is quite exciting. Not for South Australia, sadly, but for Brisbane. Brisbane's not that far away. But the first direct flight between San Francisco and Brisbane landed yesterday. 14 hours direct flying. It's set to bring in tens of millions of dollars to Queensland's tourism industry. It's run by United Airlines. It is in partnership with Virgin Australia. And there are 3 direct flights, Brisbane to San Francisco, on Tuesdays, Fridays and Sundays. It is the first direct service for Queensland to the US.
Qantas had a very long-standing direct flight to San Francisco that got scrapped about probably 7 or 8 years ago. They flew regularly between both Sydney and Melbourne, so restarting it, with United doing it, is obviously a business opportunity. I've got to say, though, just talking to David Woywood before 7 o'clock about the Nancy Pelosi stuff, and having read a bit over the weekend about the sort of counterculture background of the alleged perpetrator, I think San Francisco is actually looking increasingly like a sort of failed state, a failed entity. Like, it used to be such a beautiful, beautiful place. That city has been utterly destroyed by drugs and homelessness. And when you think it's where the whole hippie revolution started in 1968, Haight-Ashbury, Summer of Love, all the LSD experimentation that went on there, and the sort of promise of what that era was. And like now, I reckon any listener who has been to that city in the last 10 years would back me in and say it's actually quite unpleasant and frightening. I'd quite happily never go to San Francisco again.
Really?
Yeah, and there's a really, really good book that's come out by a guy who was actually a real lefty, and he was involved with local government there. And he's written this book that only came out a couple of months ago about how they started like sort of doling out assistance for people who are drug addicted with a view to getting them off drugs. Well, the opposite has happened, where the city's actually become a magnet for people who just remain on drugs, got no interest in getting off them, and now basically the city hall in San Francisco is largely devoted to handing out drugs to people who've got no interest in not taking them anymore. It's amazing.
It was quite the San Francisco education, but in a positive spin, hopefully the San Frans will want to come out to Brisbane and see our beautiful country instead. Here is the Queensland Tourism Minister Sterling Hinchcliffe along with Gert-Jan de Graaf from Brisbane Airport.
Great for tourism, that's great for business, that's great for freight as well. A brand new 787 that connects the United States, North America with our beautiful state of Queensland.
This is the boarding pass to our Queensland tourism recovery. We know that there's so much what we have on offer for people to come and experience, and we know that flights like this will play an important role on our green and gold runway through to 2032.
Green and gold runway. I quite like that.
Lowest prices are just the beginning.
Bunnings.
Why are we playing the Bunnings jingle?
We're big fans of Mitre 10 here. We do love Mitre 10, but we also love Bunnings. But Bunnings, the latest retailer to go purely digital. They are getting rid of their paper catalogue. The hardware giant is instead embracing a fully digital marketing offering. Therefore, they will now be covering mobile apps, emails and social media.
I reckon that's a major mistake by them. One of the great joys of getting the Sunday Mail on the weekend is giving it a shake, and the Mitre 10 catalogue or the Stratco catalogue pops out.
Yep.
Like, you know, and they're gonna cut themselves off from a whole generation of people who've got no interest in downloading an app.
They're moving online in the next couple of weeks with a catalogue online of a Christmas gift guide ahead of the festive season. That's their first fully digital marketing.
Like, if you go to the McDonald's drive-through these days, you get asked, have you got the app? It's like, why would I need the app? I'm in the drive-through. That's why I'm here. I just don't understand I suppose what it is, it's a cost-saving thing for them. But a lot of people just much prefer the old-fashioned analog/tactile way of doing things.
Yeah, it beats me. I'm like you. I'm a 27-year-old, but totally technology illiterate.
That's right.
And I'm not embarrassed about it. Hey, we were talking about Halloween as well, which is today. 1 in 4 of us Australians plan to celebrate Halloween this year. A survey was done by Roy Morgan. Retailers are expecting $430 million in Halloween-related spending.
The extent to which it's grown is extraordinary. Like, I'm 53, and as a kid growing up, Halloween was not even close to being a thing. There was no one got dressed up. It was wholly regarded as something that the Yanks did. And as I said earlier, I reckon there's probably 20 houses in the streets around me at the moment that have already got the cobwebs out, and we get into it. Not massively, but we always get lollies for the kids who come around, and our kids like dressing up. Some people find it really annoying though. And as Dave Muir said before, like, you can actually download and print off signs saying, please do not ring our bell. I always think that's a bit OTT, isn't it? Like, this is just kids having fun.
I think so. You say that some people struggle with Halloween. I've just got an email here from a PR company. I get sent them pretty often during the day. This one is about the fear of Halloween. The fear of Halloween is a legitimate phobia. It is Samhainophobia, SAMHAINO phobia, Samhainophobia, the fear of Halloween.
I think for a lot of kids it is pretty scary. Like, you know, and when you look at some of the actual outfits, like, you know, there's a big difference between cutting a couple of holes in a bed sheet and walking around making woo ghost sounds versus, like, you know, those sort of terrifying clown videos that you see of people looking like they're sort of half clown, half zombie. And, you know, a lot of kids, a little fleeting glimpse of something like that can absolutely terrify you and stay with you for days.
Can be very triggering. Another one that is quite common in kids and mostly adults as well, I would say. Coulrophobia, fear of clowns. C-O-U-L-R-O, phobia. Coulrophobia, fear of clowns.
It's quite common.
Yep. Fear of balloons, globophobia. Fear of being tickled by feathers. Pateronophobia. P-T-E-R-O-N-O phobia. This is actually, I'm very appreciative of this PR person who shot me this email at 7 a.m. Speaking of Halloween. And finally, we're going to head to Africa for this story. Here's the news headline on 7 this morning.
Authorities are racing to find an Australian vet kidnapped in the African nation of Chad. Dr. Jerome Huguenot joined the Sahara Conservation Team a year ago. He was working in the Wadi Fara province on Friday when, according to local media, he was taken. The Australian government is in contact with Chad and French authorities. There are fears the vet is in serious danger.
Good news on that front, though. He has been found.
Excellent.
They don't know who abducted him, but it came out this morning that he has indeed been found. Scary, though. Chad, place I never would like to go to.
No, it sounds pretty wild. Hey, good text here from Jeff in the Riverland about today's front page story in the Advertiser. Morning, team. When you talk to the Premier next, could you ask him if he'll now declare an education emergency? It's no laughing matter. The headline, NAPLAN SA kids let down on classroom basics. It's a pretty disturbing report by the veteran journalist Colin James, showing that South Australian schools have failed to achieve national average marks in any of the annual NAPLAN tests. I suppose the answer that the Premier would give is that he has recognised the extent of the problem, and part of it is the announcement of the Royal Commission headed up by former PM Julia Gillard into early childhood education and the extent to which we're setting young people up to learn. But crikey, these figures are bad. A part of it, I think, that explains us struggling in SA is that we do have a lot of very, very remote schools with very low income and educational levels within families that drive the average down. But that alone does not excuse the paltry results we're getting versus our rival schools in the not just the eastern states, in every other state in Australia.
We'll hear from the Education Minister Blair Boyer briefly after 8 o'clock this morning on those NAPLAN results. But for now, let's check traffic with summer just around the corner. Beat the rush and get your air conditioning sorted now with Mannix.
Thanks, Lucy. At Christie's Beach, we've got a blackout this morning that's affecting a few traffic lights in the area, including Beach Road at Dyson Road. Take extra care if you're around that neck of the woods this morning. You find a lane closed at Clapham, that's affecting both directions. Springbank Road near Gowrie Street, speeds at 25. Slow going South Road at Mile End today, and we've got cameras parked to Bowden and Walmer Road at Penfield. Don't move, improve with an Olympic one-car shed from $4,900. Limited time only. Contact one of their 4 display centres today. Olympic Industries, built to last. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Everyday low prices, any time of year. Trust the mighty South Aussies. Great food lives here. Foodland, the mighty South Aussies, yeah. Foodland, the mighty South.
You're watching the 5AA live stream, thanks to Foodland.
Mighty South Aussies, yeah.
Has helped prepare Australians for every little bit of life that lies ahead. The ups, the downs, and the up agains. Search Bupa today.
Cause life is for living.
Bupa, because life happens.
Now, when it comes to hearing aids, you shouldn't have to pay sky-high prices for high-tech features.
The Specsavers Advance range comes with the latest technology and features you'd expect at a price you can afford.
Now, Specsavers also offer everyday low prices and provide upfront pricing on hearing aids, which can be seen online right now. That makes it easy to shop around to find the great value that you deserve.
Okay, so what is the next step? Well, let me tell you, here's what you do. Let a qualified Specsavers audiology professional work with you to find a hearing aid solution that suits your needs, lifestyle and budget.
So to book an initial free 15-minute hearing check or to view our everyday low prices, head to specsavers.com.au/hearing.
Save up to $30,000 on premium upgrades when you build with Rivergum Homes. Choose from up to 27 quality options and upgrade your home and your life with stylish kitchen appliances and stone bench tops, home automation, premium flooring and a solar energy pack with EV charger. But for a limited time only. Go to rivergumhomes.com.au or visit any of our displays at Seaford, Parafield, Anglevale, Playford Alive or Mount Barker. Terms and conditions apply.
Here at FIVEAA, we're all about supporting local. Here's who you can support around Adelaide. Experience Australia's most popular Chuck Berry show, Wild Berry. Hear all the greatest Chuck Berry hits live. Wild Berry, Friday, November 25 at the Bar Hotel. Book at stickytickets.com.au. Experience a slam dunk before the game or a masterpiece before the concert with a pre-show meal at Jarmer's Kitchen. Perfectly placed near the entertainment centre. jarmerskitchen.com.au.
Go on, Nana, do it. No. Floor it.
Get back to doing what you love with a mobility aid from Respirico Scooter World. Whether it's the best seat in the house or a little something to help you balance, Respirico Scooter World can help make your world more accessible. Visit Respirico Scooter World or request a mobile visit for all your sleep, respiratory and mobility needs. Search Respirico Scooter World today.
Kate Collins and Brendan Raglas, the faces you know and the team you can trust. 9 News, made in Adelaide for Adelaide.
To book a free 15-minute hearing check, specsavers.com.au/hearing. T's and C's apply.
Breakfast on 5AA. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
Will Goodings having a few extra days of paternity leave. It is 7:21, top of 16 today, up to 20 mils of rain expected. Be good for the garden, but not for any outdoor activities.
Good text from Jane with a Y on the Automasters text line here. What? I love the Stratco mag in the Sunday Mail. Apps, not interested. Don't worry, Jane, there's no suggestion that the Stratco mag is going to disappear. But we're having a bit of a crack at Bunnings before, I think, further cementing why we are much happier with our good friends at Mitre 10 now that...
Yeah, they've kept their paper catalogue.
That's right.
We're all for the paper catalogue here on 5AA Breakfast.
Love all the catalogues.
After 7:30 this morning, we are talking about Stuff the British Stole. I'm really excited about this.
This could take a while.
Well, that's right. There is a new series coming to the ABC about genuinely stuff the British stole. An Australian journalist is travelling around the globe to find the stuff the British Empire took and is now situated in museums when perhaps it shouldn't be.
A lot of Greek Australians would be aware of what's known as the Elgin I think I'm pronouncing it correctly. Elgin, ELGIN marbles. And they're not marbles you play with, like the sort of 1950s game for kids, but marbles as in statues. And there's like dozens of the damn things in the British Museum that were all swiped by England. And to this day, it remains this huge source of tension between England and Greece, because Greece is saying, hey, they're our statues, can we have them back now, please? And apparently all the emails from Athens to London on that question are studiously ignored. It is just theft, basically.
Well, that's right. About. Stuff the British Stole coming up after 7:30. Also after 7:30, we are giving away Christmas pageant tickets. The National Pharmacy's Christmas pageant is back on the streets this year, celebrating 90 years of magic on Saturday, the 12th of November.
Very excited about that. It's been too long.
Has been too long. Well, countdown less than 2 weeks away. But first, we are going to head to sport with our weekend sport update. Today, we've got Timmy Ginniver. Enjoy the same feeling you get with a new Toyota on a Toyota certified pre-owned car at North Point Toyota. Morning, Timmy.
Oh, good morning, Lucy and David. Yes, I get that feeling. I tell you what, when I was watching the Reds yesterday, went out there, had a terrific game and scored some early goals. I think you got a couple of them there. Just give us a bit of the atmosphere that was happening.
Seemed to be going 100%. Just caught my eye there. And
he might be in here, though. Goodwin, who shoots and scores this time. And he goes and celebrates in front of the Red Army. Goodwin delivers back post already across the face of goal. Fantastic assist from Ben Warland. And Hiroshi Iwasuki's week, which started so badly, is just getting better and better. Adelaide 2, Perth 0, 2 goals in 3 minutes.
That audio there, thanks to Paramount. So, Timmy, you were down at Hindmarsh. How was the winning vibe?
It was actually a really strange day, weather-wise. It was sort of had a northerly about it, a bit muggy. We'd had a lot of rain early, but stayed beautiful for the actual game. And you just heard in that audio there, the captain, Craig Goodwin, he kicked the first one, he was involved in the second, but all of that happened within the first 30 minutes. And then the opposition scored, and then they hung on for the second half. So, good victory for Adelaide. And what I did notice, that the renovations at Cooper Stadium in preparation for the Women's World Cup coming here to Australia next year, and looks like we've got 3 countries going to be playing games here. I think England, Brazil. So we've got some really big countries coming out to play here in Australia and at Adelaide Oval. So they've got 2 brand new big screens up, and they've got a new corporate facility up on the eastern side. So yeah, it was a pretty good day for all at Cooper Stadium.
I'll tell you what, the Women's World Cup, that has become such a huge international event, and I don't think it's actually dawned on people how big a deal it is that we're hosting it. And who knows? I mean, I was talking to my son and I, because we're massive men's World Cup fans as well. We're sort of wondering out loud, will we ever see Australia host a World Cup, a men's World Cup in our lifetime? Hopefully, that hosting the Women's World Cup can sort of remind FIFA and the rest of the world, Tim, that we can do it standing on our head. Would be an absolutely perfect host nation, as opposed, say, to Qatar. But that ship sailed. But I reckon within the next 3 decades we'll get it.
Well, I think you're dead right, David. We've got the Olympics coming in 2032 in Brisbane, but they're saying that this event will be the biggest event in Australia since our 2000 Olympics. So that actually gives you an idea of the scale of what's going to happen here, and you're dead right. I don't think anybody's really understanding exactly how big it's going to be. So it's going to be exciting times for the country, but also for Adelaide to get these games. So fantastic stuff. So now I believe there's a horse race tomorrow.
Yes, apparently.
Some would believe that there is, yes.
What I thought I'd do for you is just give you a little insight into a bit of the history of the Melbourne Cup. Not a lot of people probably know these stats, but the Cup started in 1871, so she's 151 years old, but it didn't get run on a Tuesday until 1875, so we've got a 150th birthday celebration coming up for the Tuesday event. But you probably know already, Makybe Diva, the only 3-time winner, of course, owned by Tony Santic at Port Lincoln there. It's got a statue at Port Lincoln. I've actually had a photo with it.
Yeah.
Didn't get on it. A lot of people try and get on it.
There's that wonderful seafood restaurant there on the foreshore, just opposite that restaurant.
Yeah, I might have been in both. So at the time. But a lot of people like to back the grey horse. It's a bit of a superstition for people. A grey horse has only won it 6 times in those 151 events, so not probably your best bet. But what about this one? Everybody goes on names and the like, but only 400 to 1 winners have ever occurred in the history of the Melbourne Cup. And of course, the most famous prize of the Prince of Penzance, which was written by Michelle Payne, of course, in that famous story, the only female jockey to win the race in 2015. An amazing story, and I think they made a movie out of it too, I reckon.
That's right. Hey, Tim, we'll be seeing you later down the bay. You're doing the show there this afternoon with Rory from the beautiful Glenelg Golf Course. Hope you bring in a golf umbrella.
Oh, yes, that's exactly what I do. I'll hold it over your head as you tee off, mate. All the best.
And David will hold it over you as you broadcast the sports show, Timmy.
And then walk with me towards the neighbouring fairway where the ball will be. That'd be good.
Will do. All right, buddy. See you then.
Cheers, Tim.
Thank you very much, Timmy. With our weekend sport update, he will be down at the FIVEAA Golf Day today, broadcasting the drive show with Rowie there from 4 o'clock. Enjoy the same feeling you get with a new Toyota on a Toyota certified pre-owned car at North Point Toyota.
What is small business? It's your local, people you know, a struggle, a smile, a few less smiles over the last few years. Small business needs you, and we all need small business. It's your morning coffee, a long lunch, that perfect gift. Small business is community. It supports workers, suppliers, families right across South Australia. Small business has a big heart, so go out and support small business. A message from the Government of South Australia.
I'm Kathy Nagel, Chief Executive of Western Hospital Henley Beach. Ever wondered where you'd go if you needed several medical services at once? Well, wonder no more. For many patients, Western Hospital is a one-stop healthcare hub. Access everything you require without leaving the building or paying for parking. With our GP clinic, specialists on site, allied health, radiology, pathology, pharmacy, inpatient care and more, why go anywhere else? Explore our services at westernhospital.com.au.
Mini Jumbuck, now in McLaren Vale, make Australia's favourite wool bedding products, proudly made right here in South Australia. Mini Jumbuck uses the finest Australian wool to handcraft their quilts, mattress toppers, pillows and more. If you're looking to improve your quality of sleep, start with a visit to Mini Jumbuck McLaren Vale today. You'll find some great specials in store, along with fabulous gift ideas for adults and children, or to spoil yourself. Mini Jumbuck McLaren Vale, open 7 days, Australian made, Australian owned.
This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Showers and 16 today with the 7:30 news. I'm Mel Usher. A pocket of suburbs south of the city are still without power this morning. The blackout is impacting almost 1,700 properties from Christie Downs to Christie's Beach, as well as Port Noarlunga, Noarlunga Downs and Noarlunga Centre. Crews are working to have the problem fixed by 9:30. A man has been charged with drink driving and aggravated driving without due care after allegedly crashing his car twice in the northern suburbs last night. Just before 11, there was a two-car crash on Keene Avenue at Manopara West at Gawler South. Senior Constable Dave Muir says one of the cars took off and was later discovered in a ditch on Riggs Hill Road.
Now, that driver, 32-year-old Northern Suburbs man, had managed to crawl out of the car uninjured. Investigations revealed that this was the same car and driver involved in that earlier crash at Manopara West. He was breath tested and returned an alleged blood alcohol reading of 0.198, nearly 4 times the legal limit.
It's a poor report card for SA when it comes to the NAPLAN test results. The best scores for SA came in years 3 and 5, while girls outperformed boys across all year levels in the 5 tests. But Shadow Education Minister John Gardner, who looked after the portfolio under the previous government, says we're no longer at the bottom of the list.
5 years ago, South Australia was at the very back of the pack when it came to NAPLAN. We were competing for last place out of all the states. In the last 4 years, we've moved not only well clear of Tasmania, but we've now moved quite clear of Queensland as well.
The Royal Commission into the government's robo-debt scheme will begin hearings today in Brisbane. Brian Wilson has more.
The controversial scheme started in 2015 using complex algorithms to estimate, calculate and allege debts owing to Centrelink from welfare recipients, including students. The scheme was scrapped in 2020 after it was revealed almost 500,000 of the alleged debts were incorrect. The Commonwealth recently paid $112 million in compensation to around 400,000 individuals in settlement of a class action. The initial hearings will probe the design and management of the scheme. Later sessions will gather evidence from people affected by the program. The Commission is expected to report in April next year.
4 Australian women repatriated from Syria will face questioning from police. The wives and widows of ISIS fighters and their 13 children are the first of dozens to be brought to Australia after up to a decade overseas. The decision has divided local opinion, but Save the Children's Matt Tinkler has told Nine people should be more worried about extremists the authorities don't know about.
We know exactly what they've been through, we know exactly where they're going to live, we know exactly who they're going to associate with, we know law enforcement have done their assessments. If they've committed a crime, they'll be charged, and they understand that, and they've fronted up to law enforcement authorities on their arrival to participate in interviews.
At least 80 people have died after a suspension bridge collapsed in India. More than 400 people were on the footbridge in the country's west when it gave way, plunging them into the water. It comes just days after the bridge was reopened following repairs. Now turning to 5AA Sport.
10-year warranty and 10-year capped price servicing at Agostino Mitsubishi, Nailsworth and Elizabeth.
Here's Tom Wren.
Thank you for that, Mel. A big night in cricket coming up with Australia booked to keep the side's T20 World Cup hopes alive, taking on Ireland at the Gabba. Meantime, South Africa has jumped to the top of Group 2 after an upset 5-wicket win against India in Perth last night. And there were 2 other games yesterday, with Zimbabwe holding out Bangladesh by 3 runs in a thriller, while Pakistan smashed the Netherlands by 6 wickets. To soccer, and Adelaide United is up to 6th after securing its first win of the A-League season, beating Perth Glory at home 2-1. Meantime, wins for Arsenal and Manchester United in the EPL. Well, Australia's netballers have taken an unbeatable 2-0 lead in their best-of-3 series against the England Roses after winning 56-48 in Sydney. Coach Stacey Marinkovic pleased with her players.
There were some key things that we wanted to focus on. Start, get our penalty count down, which we did, and, you know, it's the consistency you've got to be able to produce.
Audio there thanks to Fox. Game 3 will be played in Brisbane on Thursday night. To golf, Irishman Seamus Power has just won the Bermuda Championship, a PGA tournament, by a single shot ahead of Belgium's Thomas Dietrich. Aussie Aaron Baddeley finished 3 shots back in a tie for 6th. Meantime, Aussie amateur Harrison Crowe has won the Asia Pacific Amateur Championship in Thailand by a single shot, meaning he's now booked his ticket to next year's US Masters and Open Championship in Liverpool. The 21-year-old holding his nerve on the final hole to secure the win.
Harrison Crowe now this to win the Asia Pacific Amateur Championship. Yes, indeed, that was some up and down.
Yeah, great effort there. And we're past the halfway stage at the Mexican Formula One Grand Prix. Max Verstappen still out leading. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
At Christie's Beach, got a blackout affecting a few traffic lights today, including Beach Road at Dyson Road. Just take extra care if you're in that neck of the woods this morning. Athelstone, look out for road damage. That's due to a rock slide on Stradbroke Road between Montague Road and Gorge Road. And we've got a line out of action this morning at North Adelaide, Park Terrace, North Adelaide Station. Road speeds at 40. Cameras, Bridge Road, Salisbury, Eastern Park Terrace at Bowden. Hungry? Head to a Porto for the Bondi Burger Box. Double Bondi Burger, 2 crispy chicken strips, snack chips, drink and dipping sauce, just $16.95 at a Porto. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Now the 5AA forecast.
See any issue firsthand with AutoCam. Real-time video, direct to you from your Automasters technician.
Showers for you Monday and 16, showers tomorrow 15, Wednesday a shower or 2, 17. Right now it's 14 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Of all the trillions of atoms in the universe, how special it is to think that the atoms of comets, volcanoes, brontosauruses and Shakespeare live on in you, me, chainsaws, pizza ovens, decorative garden meerkats. The middle aisle of Aldi Special Buys. It's special. You can buy every Wednesday and Saturday at Aldi. Good. Different.
A perfect getaway is all about the away. Away from the office and into nature. Away from walls and concrete and into lush green views. Away from food and into cuisine. Away from the rat race and into prime accommodation, a day spa and a round of golf. At Novotel Barossa Valley Resort, the perfect getaway is just a call away. Visit novotelbarossa.com today.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube.
To book a free 15-minute hearing check, specsavers.com.au/hearing. T's and C's apply.
Breakfast on 5AA. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
7:38 on your Monday morning. Christmas pageant is back after a couple of years. It's now back on the streets in the original format.
Where it belongs.
The National Pharmacy's Christmas pageant celebrating 90 years of magic on Saturday, the 12th of November. Call us 8223 for your chance to win grandstand tickets. But
you were a clown, Luce, you were telling me during the news break.
4 years ago.
How did that come about?
It was
friend of a friend?
No, through here actually. Had the chance to be a clown and I got to bring a friend, so it wasn't just me out there. It was good.
Excellent.
But
I went in it once. It was good. I was a clown as well.
Before you all start ringing
typecast.
for the tickets, we want you to come on and sing your favourite Christmas carol.
Yeah, now
it
and we want, people have a real red-hot crack at this too.
Yes.
Like, no sort of, William Shatner spoken word versions of Jingle Bells. Like, we want people to go full cabaret, so
it doesn't have to be
warm
very
up
long.
your tonsils.
2 lines is all we want.
Yeah.
Have a sing. Call us 8223 We will get to your calls shortly, but first it is time for this.
Museums and galleries are filled with treasure. But then you ask,
what is the story of how it got here?
In the days of the British Empire, objects were taken.
The British made a bit of a habit of finding things that they liked.
It's not theirs. They didn't own it.
Why is this artifact here and not in China? Explain.
They usually ended up with polite plaques.
People have raised questions about this for a long time.
Is this looting?
Looting's in the eye of the beholder.
But the real story? Official records call it a gift.
That's an absolute load of horse.
Mark Fennell joins us. He is hosting Stuff the British Stole. The TV series is premiering tomorrow night on the ABC. But Mark, good morning. I believe you've already got a podcast about this.
Yes, it actually started as a podcast. It started as a podcast. I happened to be in London a couple of years ago with my microphone, and I spoke to a historian. She's like, there's heaps of stuff here with dodgy history. I was like, oh, really? And we made this podcast a couple of years ago that ended up going to number 1 on the Apple iTunes chart, and people went, I'd really like to see these objects. And lo and behold, we came together to make a TV series. And with any luck, they'll let me back into the UK at some point in the future. Who knows?
So is the first episode, which is airing tomorrow night here in Australia, 8 o'clock, where does the first episode take you? Do you start off in London?
Well, we do start off. It felt right. You've got to kind of start at the heart of the empire, but we go all over the world. And I think it logically made sense to start off with something at the centre of power, and we actually start off with an object, a diamond, in fact, that sits in the crown jewels. And I think, every episode is really a question, was it stolen or was it not? And inevitably, and this is a spoiler alert, it's always a lot more complicated than it looks, because in reality, history's pretty messy, and that's the stuff that you don't get on the plaques. And part of the fun of the show, I guess, is actually unpicking those stories and going, hold on, it went from this person to this person. How did it get there? That's the stuff that's really fascinating, because it's through those twists and turns that you kind of get the story of, it's not really the story of the British Empire, it's the story of us, all of us left in the wake of the British Empire.
One case I mentioned before, Mark, and having seen some of them myself at the British Museum, was the Elgin marbles, which is still a huge source of conflict between England and Greece. Greece is formally saying, hey, listen, it's been, a couple of millennia now, can we have our statues back?
Yeah, absolutely. We dedicated a whole episode of the podcast, which people can listen to now, all about the Parthenon marbles, and it is really tricky how that story played out, because actually what happens is the British at that time kind of get permission, but not from the Greeks. They get permission from another empire who are in charge of Greece at the time, and Greece has been asking for it back for, as you say, for decades and decades, and it's one of those things where, technically speaking, the British make it legal once it arrives back, properly legal by British law once it gets into the UK. But what does that mean for people who want it back? And, Greece is literally built. They've literally built a museum to house it, and they still haven't had much love. And I think, up until quite recently, a lot of museums literally couldn't give back even if they wanted to because of Acts of Parliament in the UK. And so it's through those little twists and turns you understand just how complicated it is. But it's, you talk to any Greek person, right? It is a source of so much pride and so much injustice that these absolutely stunning works of art are still so far away from home.
So Australia for a long time, Mark, was regarded as an outpost of empire. We weren't an independent federation until 1901. Just thinking about the stuff that's in Britain is only sort of part of it, isn't it? Because we're broadcasting to you from Hindmarsh Square, just 2 streets away from our excellent South Australian Museum. And I've got to say, as a kid and even now as an adult, I love going to the Egyptology room at the South Australian Museum, which has got, I think, 2 big mummies. It's also got a mummified cat. It's got some amazing Egyptian sculptures of scarabs and so forth that were put inside the coffins of the upper class in Egypt. Is there a possibility that things like that could be, in the purview of your program?
Absolutely. I think the way Egyptian objects, we don't do Egyptian objects this season, but we are doing another series of podcasts, and we're dedicating an episode to Egyptian objects that do end up in Australia, because you're right, Australia is, for all intents and purposes, particularly for the first half of the 20th century, very much considered to be at the beginning, it's obviously part of the British Empire as a colony, and then even after that, its identity within the British Empire kind of continues right up until kind of the 1940s. You're British, if you're born before 1942, you're born a British subject, right? So, I think a really important part of this series is to actually not just look at stuff that ends up in the British Isles, but also stuff that ends up as part of the wider British Empire. And so there's a whole bunch of objects that we do in the TV series that actually live in Australia right now, but were taken in the days of the British Empire. And that stuff is fascinating to me because it's about us, right? The thing with the British Empire is that, you're in Adelaide, I live in New South Wales. People might also watch it in Queensland and, or Victoria. Like, what do all these things have in common? They're all named after British things, right? Australia, for better or worse, wouldn't be what it is today without the British Empire. And that impact is so ubiquitous that it's almost invisible, and you only really notice it. I think when things like the Queen passing happens, when suddenly, in the next year or so, our coins will change from having Queen Elizabeth to having King Charles. It's only when those big events happen that you go, oh, wait, we are still linked to this thing. And I think, the goal for me is, these objects, they aren't just, weird mysteries of an object. They actually, when you start pulling the thread, you have to kind of land on something bigger. You have to go, oh, this is why we have this law. This is why this street is named like this. It's not really about the past. It's about how we ended up with the world today as told through these objects that kind of, sit inanimate in, museums and galleries, but they hold these mysteries, and those mysteries actually tell us something about who we are.
Sounds fascinating.
Mark Fennell, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Stuff the British Style premieres tomorrow, 8 p.m. on ABC.
I'll tell you what, though, in defence of our beloved mother country, you could actually do a whole bunch of spin-off series based on the same theme. Like, you could do Stuff the Spanish Style, you could do Stuff the Portuguese Style, i.e., pretty much
You've just given Mark his next 10 years of work.
All of South America, all the gold, all of that amazing Incan gold. In Mexico, you get a massive, massive, massive fine, and also I think even a jail term if you're caught leaving the country with any Aztec or Mayan stuff. Like, they are red hot on it. Because I actually found this tiny little head, a little carved head, when I was climbing a pyramid when I was there, and I kept it. And I was, at the end of the year, I was talking to my Mexican brother and my host family, and he said, mate, I know these things, they're a dime a dozen, he said, but you can't take it out of the country.
Yeah, so, did you get a Mexican curse hexed upon you?
Well, I left it there. I didn't bring it home.
Smart
I didn't
thinking.
Want to get the
you never
curse
know.
Of, what's the god
the
of
Mayan
death?
wrath.
God of death? Mictlantecutli, that's his name.
There you go.
Bit of Aztec for you, first thing in the morning, Liz.
We'll get to your Christmas pageant, favourite Christmas carols sing-along shortly after the break, but get calling now, 8223 0000 for your chance to win a grandstand to the Christmas pageant. We'll take your calls shortly, but first here's traffic with summer just around the corner. Beat the rush and get your air conditioning sorted now with Mannix.
Thanks, Lucy. And Christie's Beach got a blackout affecting a few traffic lights today, including Beach Road at Dyson Road. Athelstone, look out for road damage due to a rock slide, Stradbroke Road between Montague Road and Gorge Road. And we've got a lane closed this morning at North Adelaide, Park Terrace near North Adelaide Station Road, speeds at 40. Cameras today, Bridge Road, Salisbury East and Frederick Road at Grange. Would your car pass the Petters brake, steering and suspension check? If you're not sure, you can just check it with Petters for only $28. Book in today at petters.com.au. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Everyday low prices, any time of year. Trust the mighty South Aussies. Great food lives here. Foodland. The mighty South Aussies, yeah.
You're watching the 5AA live stream, thanks to Foodland.
With EV Charger, but for a limited time only. Go to rivergumhomes.com.au or visit any of our displays at Seaford, Parafield, Anglevale, Playford Alive or Mount Barker. Terms and conditions apply.
Here's what you missed on Dreamscapes. Deep in the jungle, you discover a tower built entirely of toffee, surrounded by a cappuccino moat. The Queen of Ants arrives on a marshmallow boat, ready to negotiate trade sanctions on your mine of sugarific gold. And is that chocolate yacht for you? What dreamscapes are you missing? If you're not sleeping, talk to Respirico Scooter World about an in-home sleep apnea assessment. Visit Respirico Scooter World for all your sleep, respiratory and mobility needs.
Need an electrician? Ken Hall Electricians. We're qualified electricians for PowerPoints, sensor lights, smoke alarms, rewires and inspections. And we're as local as you. So give Ken a call. Ken Hall Electricians, 8364 5855.
Hi, Susanna Toop here from Toop & Toop. $450,000. That's the average price of an investment property in Adelaide. It's also the value of the asset you are trusting your property manager with. As a director and CEO of Toop and Toop Property Management and a lawyer, looking after your property is my team and I's sole focus, and we take this responsibility very seriously. Building long-term relationships with our clients is really important to us. Who are you trusting to look after your biggest investment? Toop.com.au.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube.
To book a free 15-minute hearing check, specsavers.com.au/hearing. T's and C's apply.
Breakfast on 5AA. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
10 to 8. Good morning to you. Bit grey and cloudy outside.
Get used to it.
Top of 16 we are in for, and you've just heard in the 5AA news with Mel that the power outage down at Christie Downs, Christie's Beach, Noarlunga Centre, Noarlunga Downs, expected restoration is now 9:30 a.m. Was 7:30. They're still investigating that. 1,700 of you without power down in Christie Downs. Now for the Christmas pageant tickets, we're getting some of our best outsourced singers on the radio this morning. The National Pharmacy's Christmas pageant is back on the streets of Adelaide, celebrating 90 years of magic on Saturday, the 12th of November. So for our listeners, chance to win grandstand tickets, which we are doing all week. We want to get a few bars of our favourite Christmas carol. Ryan in Golden Grove, are you there?
Sure am.
What have you got for us, Ryan? Let it rip and we'll see if we can guess it.
All right, here we go. Silent night, holy night, all is calm, all is bright.
Excellent.
What about the range on Ryan? He just oscillates from soprano to castrati. That was superb.
Ryan with Silent Night. Excellent, Ryan. Thank you very much. Anne in Dover Gardens, how are you going?
Good morning. Good, thank you.
Good. Let it rip, Anne, and we'll see if we can guess it.
Jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. Hey, jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride a one-horse open sleigh.
Thank you, Anne. Big finish on the end there for Jingle Bells.
That was superb, Anne.
Excellent.
I loved it.
This is good. Everyone's very festive. I'm feeling so much better.
It's good.
About the day.
Terrific.
Angela in Royal Park, good morning.
Good morning.
Okay, Angela, go for it.
Okay, on the first day of Christmas, my true love sent to me a partridge in a pear tree, bom, bom, bom. On the second day of Christmas, my true love sent to me 2 turtle doves and a partridge in a pear tree.
We probably haven't got time for the whole song, but that is absolutely excellent. And the bomb, bomb, bombs.
It's just doing our own musical interludes in between.
I think that's marginally edged you in front, the added boom, boom, boom. She's a one-woman orchestra, Angela.
Fabulous by Angela. Jackie in Lockley's, good morning to you.
Hello, how are you?
We're good, thanks, Jackie.
You got this, Jackie. No fear here.
Don't worry, Jackie. There's only 130,000 people listening. So if you could just sing a Christmas carol now, that'd be terrific.
Thank you, David. That's excellent. I saw Mommy kissing Santa Claus underneath the mistletoe last night. That's it. I can't do any more.
That was beautiful, though. Well done, Jackie.
That's good, Jackie. We only asked for 2 lines and you delivered in spades.
This is hard. This is really hard. Well done, Jackie.
All right, we got Ryan with Silent Night, Anne with Jingle Bells, Angela with 12 Days of Christmas, and Jackie with I Saw Mummy Kissing Santa Claus.
Look, I think we'll give it to Angela. I think we will, just with the boom, boom, boom. Yeah, she really brought it home there. They were all terrific, though.
Now, we are giving away these tickets all week. We may or may not be doing the singing comp all week, but if there's roaring demand,
I think we should. We should. I want to hear somebody have a crack at Mariah Carey's All I Want for Christmas.
Strong debate whether that is a carol or not a carol.
What, is there some argument that carols are sort of like frozen in time and that you can't add new carols?
Maybe we'll start that debate.
I think you can add new carols. I like that song. I think that song's excellent.
Congratulations to you, Angela. The National Pharmacy's Christmas pageant is back on the streets for 2022, celebrating 90 years of magic on Saturday, the 12th of November. Have we had a call here from Dave? Sherwood Terrace and Haywoods Drive intersection. A car has gone down an embankment. Avoid the area.
Hope it's not that half what we heard about at 6:45. He's been had 2 car accidents in the same day, on the same day, while drink driving. Well,
That's
clearly
right.
not, because it's a different part of town. We hope that person's okay. But
yeah,
Dave Muir told us all about that before. Some people are determined to get themselves into trouble, aren't they?
That's right, especially on a wintry, slippery road out there this morning. Please drive for the conditions. Now let's get to John Blake. Aussie Fast Transport Solutions, Interstate Freight Distribution, Warehousing and Local Adelaide Couriers. Call Aussie Fast on 13 13 64.
Yes, Steph.
Good morning, Premier. There's a ghoul here to see you.
A what?
A ghoul.
A girl?
A ghoul. He has dark eyes, big fangs, blood dribbling down his chin, and he's wearing a black cape. I've come to suck your blood.
So it's Coots trick-or-treating?
That's right, Tom Coots and Taylor. It's Count Santana.
Send him in, Steph.
You can go in, Count. I will make you my bride of darkness. I would rather die, thank you. Well, I'm the Prince of Darkness, so that's a...
Come in, Tom.
I am the Count.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Count Santonus. See what I did there?
Count traffic infringements.
That's not funny.
Oh, I think it might be.
Happy Halloween, Premier. Oh, how do you like my outfit?
It's very nice.
More and more people are getting into Halloween, you know.
Yeah, still only a bit half-hearted, though, really.
Yeah, well, if more high-profile people like me lead the way, it'll get more popular.
You think so?
Yes, I do.
Well, why do you care?
Because it promotes community involvement, Premier Peter.
Dressed like Dracula, scaring kids.
Kids love being scared.
You going to wipe the blood off your face before Parliament tomorrow?
Oh, are we back tomorrow?
Yep. Yes, Steph.
Premier, some children are here trick-or-treating.
Oh, all right, let them come in.
I'll get it. You watch how much fun this is.
No, Tom.
Good morning. Oh. See, they love it.
More from John Blake with Behind Closed Doors
I love to count.
after 8:30.
Counts and daughters.
After 8 o'clock this morning, we are chatting with the Education Minister, Blair Boyer. But for now, let's get to our weekend real estate wrap. All thanks to Toop and Toop. We've got Bronte Manuel on the line. Morning, Bronte.
Good morning. How you doing?
Good, thank you. How was the weekend in real estate?
Yeah, it was good. So South Australian was 72% clearance rate. We managed to pull just under 80% personally, well, as a company. One of the standouts from the weekend, which can really, demonstrate to you the market's still well and truly alive, we had a property, 130 Drayton Street in Bowden. Now, this was a fraction over 400 square metres. It was a two-bedroom home. You sort of walk in to the right, you've got bedroom one, to the following on from that to the right, you've then got bedroom two, a bathroom, a kitchen, and then a lounge.
Mm-hmm.
And we sold that for $1,105,000. So,
you're joking?
Yeah. No,
is it new?
No.
Is it a new home or is it a done-up old home?
It's a bluestone. It's a bluestone.
So like a
home,
worker's cottage?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's been done up nicely, but not excessive. And then with regards to car parking, there is ability to do off streets, but not a garage or a carport for that matter. So big money, and that's not just somebody coming out of the blue. That's multiple people. I think there was 9 or so registered fighting it out. So I also feel that buyers now are starting to work out that there's no stock on market. We need to just stop reading and listening to things and actually just getting on with life. So it's sort of kicking on again.
That's extraordinary. 400 square metres, you said, Bronte. It sort of seems to show, because we're in Sydney on the weekend for the radio awards, and talking to a couple of mates over there who I caught up with on Saturday afternoon, they were saying how much it's come down, but it feels like, because it was so overheated there, it was always going to come down, whereas we seem to still be, and it sounds silly saying this to South Australians, but in the eyes of Eastern States people, we're pretty affordable still.
With regards to all of Australia, if you look at the centre stage, we are highly, highly affordable. And I always come back to it, sound like a broken record, average household income versus median sale price, Sydney is 15 times.
Yeah.
Melbourne, 11.8. Adelaide, 7.8.
Wow.
So I feel silly every day that I say it, that we're still affordable, because we're probably 40% up. But that's what we are, and that is why we continue to get interstate interest and international interest, and that's why people are literally investing in Adelaide, because when I go to Sydney, to auctioneering comps, and I catch up with industry people, they never talk about Adelaide, but you know what they do now? They talk about Adelaide, and they want to buy in Adelaide. So it's refreshing, actually.
Thank you, Bronte. Adelaide is the place to be. You heard it from our friends there at Toop and Toop. Coming up after 8 o'clock, breaking at 8, the Education Minister Blair Boyer and David Koch. More after the news.
Stovey poles, Oban, pie floaters.
So SA, heaps SA even. Just like frog cakes, and probably the most heaps SA of them all, Farmers Union iced coffee.
Are you heaps SA? If you are, it could win you 20 grand. Just buy a specially marked Farmers Union iced coffee and share a photo of it with you, proving your South Aussiness for the chance to win 20k.
Ends December 4, T's and C's apply. Check the Farmers Union socials.
It's a Farmers Union iced coffee.
Or it's nothing.
The passing of someone close places unique stress on family and friends. At this time, Farrell and O'Neill Funerals are here to provide reassurance and peace of mind. Farrell and O'Neill offer creative guidance and advice to tailor a service that best honours your loved one. Whether a large gathering or a small, intimate service, Farrell and O'Neill share their generations of experience in tailoring a unique and meaningful farewell. Proudly SA family owned and operated, because it's personal.
When you sign with some of the big builders, it can be a bit of a fanfare. They will throw everything at you, including the kitchen sink, or even two of them. Everything may seem rosy in the beginning until you have questions. Then it can be hard to find someone to talk to.
Well, you won't have that problem if you deal with the highly reputable and excellent people at Lamar Homes. Lamar Homes is a quality South Australian builder, and they've got absolutely nothing to hide. They've been around for more than 15 years.
Lamar Homes are all about people, not the numbers, so the team at Lamar are always available to answer your questions, even the really tough ones. The other great thing about Lamar Homes is that you can inspect your home at any stage, even at the lock-up, just to make sure you're happy with everything.
Now, some of the big builders aren't really comfortable doing that. Well, not Lamar. They've got nothing to hide. Visit lamarhomes.com.au. Here today, home tomorrow.
Kate Collins and Brendan Raglas, the faces you know and the team you can trust. 9 News, made in Adelaide for Adelaide.
Online, on DAB Digital Radio and on 1395 AM. Talking Adelaide. This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Showers and 16 today with the 8 o'clock news. I'm Mel Usher. Alarming results in the latest round of NAPLAN testing in SA. No year level achieved the national average for reading, spelling, numeracy, grammar or punctuation. The state government will introduce a new mathematics improvement strategy with an increased emphasis on numeracy and mathematics in the foundation years. The down track of Gorge Road at Montacute will be blocked for most of the morning after a landslide. Senior Constable Dave Muir is asking drivers to avoid the area.
We've got crews there, or police crews there at the moment, after reports a large boulder is actually partially blocking the road following a rock slide overnight. Just letting motorists know to expect delays for some time this morning, as not only do they have to remove this boulder, but the road surface has also been damaged.
And almost 1,700 properties are still blacked out down south. SA Power Networks hopes to have everyone back online by 9:30. Suburbs affected include Christie Downs, Noarlunga Centre and Port Noarlunga. We're welcoming the first major cruise liner in more than 2 years to Adelaide today. The Pacific Explorer docked around 7 a.m. The cruising industry was worth $5 billion a year in Australia before the pandemic. Labor's first budget in almost a decade has not been well received, according to a new opinion poll. Michael Packy reports.
The budget delivered by Treasurer Jim Chalmers is the worst received since the Coalition's financial blueprint in 2014. According to the latest news poll, almost half of the 1,500 people surveyed believe they'll be worse off over the next year, but they don't think the opposition would have done any better. While many voters say the budget fails to address cost of living, about 31% argue budget repair has been ignored. The poll also shows support is starting to wane for Labor and the Prime Minister.
Optus is shedding customers in the wake of the data breach. At least 10% have left the company since the cyber attack. The annual EFTM mobile phone survey finding a further 56% of Optus customers are considering changing telcos. At least 80 people have been killed in a bridge collapse in India. Brett McLeod has more.
Hundreds of people are believed to have been on the bridge in the town of Morbi when it collapsed into the river below. Many people were left clinging to cables while they waited for rescue. Prime Minister Modi, who was on a 3-day visit to the state, says he's deeply saddened by the tragedy. The 230-metre 19th century bridge had only just reopened after a 6-month renovation.
Now turning to 5AA Sport.
All new 2022 Mitsubishi Outlander with 10-year warranty. 10 years capped price servicing at Agostino Mitsubishi.
And there's a lot happening in cricket at the moment, of course, with the T20 World Cup, and the man who knows all about it is Tom Wren.
Well, I don't know about all of it, but I'll try and do my very best. Mel, let's start with that cricket. South Africa has defeated India at the T20 World Cup by 5 wickets, while Bangladesh has edged Zimbabwe by 3 runs. It means the Proteas are now to the top of their group. Australia plays Ireland tonight, needing a big win to improve the side's poor net run rate, but captain Aaron Finch says they just can't go out there swinging for the fences.
I think you have to earn the right to go after a run rate performance. We've seen how damaging Ireland can be if you give them a sniff in a game, so you never go into a game thinking about things like that.
Meantime, South Australia's cricketers will take on New South Wales in a Sheffield Shield match beginning in Wollongong later this morning. Well, Max Verstappen is closing in on another Formula One victory, currently leading in Mexico with only a handful of laps remaining. A better effort for Aussie Daniel Ricciardo, he's currently 7th. The Adelaide 36ers will recover today following a 5-point overtime loss against the southeast Melbourne Phoenix. The Sixers are 8th and next face the bottom-placed Illawarra on Thursday night. Adelaide United has secured its first win of the season after taking care of the Perth Glory 2-1 at home. Meantime, in overseas action, Arsenal is back on top of the EPL table. That's after thumping Nottingham Forest 5-0, while Manchester United got past West Ham 1-0. Well, punters are piling on the money for Melbourne Cup favourite Deauville Legend, jumping from barrier 9 in tomorrow's big race. The Playford Tennis International has concluded for another year, with 20-year-old Aussie Rinki Hichikata taking out the final with a clinical straight sets win against Japan's Ryo Noguchi. On the women's side, Kim Birrell came from a set down to beat fellow Aussie Madison Inglis in 3 sets. Meantime, Russia's Daniil Medvedev has won his 2nd title of the year and secured his place at the ATP Finals, defeating Denis Shapovalov to win the Vienna Open. And the Denver Broncos have broken a 4-game losing streak as they beat the Jacksonville Jaguars 21-17 in a match played at Wembley Stadium in London. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
At Christie's Beach, got a blackout this morning. It's affecting quite a few traffic lights in the area, including Beach Road at Dyson Road, so take it easy through there today. Athelstone, you'll find road damage. That's due to a rock slide, Stradbroke Road between Montague Road and Gorge Road. Got a lane out of action today, North Adelaide, Park Terrace near North Adelaide Station Road, speeds at 40, with cameras to look out for today, Hartley Road, Flinders Park and Park Terrace at Bowden. When you cover things up, they last longer. The same goes for you. Be Sun Smart. Save your skin. Download the SunSmart app today and protect yourself in 5 ways. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Now the 5AA forecast.
See any issue firsthand with AutoCam. Real-time video, direct to you from your Automasters technician.
16 for your Monday with showers. Showers tomorrow 15. Wednesday a shower or 2, 17. Right now it's 14 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
To book a free 15-minute hearing check, specsavers.com.au/hearing. T's and C's apply.
Breakfast on 5AA. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
7 minutes past 8 on your Monday morning. Will, no doubt, sitting at home with little Rosie, watching the clouds
NBA.
roll in, the dreariness, and he thinks of you about to head out to the 5AA golf day.
I think you'd be less interested in watching nature than the Indiana Pacers, Luce. We all know that to be the case. I'm sure if Will's listening, he'll confirm that.
Well, it is 16 degrees and showers. We're expecting up to 20 mils possible today. There is a severe weather warning for most parts of the state. Severe wind watch as well. If you are driving around out there, be careful on the roads. Coming up shortly, Education Minister Blair Boyer. The South Australian NAPLAN scores, not too great this time around. What are we going to do about it? And after 8:30 this morning, host of Channel 7 Sunrise, David Koch, and Behind Closed Doors with John Blake. But let's get to breaking at 8.
Well, over the last couple of days, in a very surprising development, one that I certainly didn't see coming in a journalistic sense, I've spent an inordinate amount of time talking to women who are members of the Country Women's Association, which is, of course, an absolutely fantastic organisation. We always love interviewing the women from the CWA whenever the Royal show's on. They do a great job there, selling the scones and sandwiches and so forth, and they play a vital role in giving people in country communities a way to socialise, and also, of course, helping out whenever there are fundraising needs, and often, states of emergency, things like, sandbagging that's going on at the moment. The job would often fall to the CWA to go out there and help the volunteers with keeping them fed and watered and so on. Well, sadly, though, this organisation here in South Australia has got itself into a bit of a pickle, no pun intended, and it all stems from the revelations that it had, in secret, sacked its president, or rather tried to sack its president, Davina Quirk, all the way back in May. Now, since we revealed that story last week, there's been a hell of a lot of developments. There was a secret meeting of the State Administration Committee on Thursday where they all talked about the fact that this had come out, and they were furious about it. And in a statement that wasn't attributed to anybody, the all-powerful Central Committee put out this statement saying, the SACWA considers that Mrs Quirk's decision to air a private association matter in such a public forum to be most unfortunate. SACWA does not intend to join Mrs Quirk in a public debate as to current disciplinary proceedings, particularly where legal action has been threatened or considered. There's still zero clarity around why Mrs Quirk was knocked off, or rather why they attempted to knock her off from that position, save for some quite laughable suggestions that she'd put too much embroidery inside the president's residence at the Decaturville Terrace headquarters. What has happened, though, and it's important because all of these positions are going to be determined at their November State Council meeting, and again at the other State Council meeting that's coming up, which is being held in January. I've been contacted by several women now who say that they're so unhappy with the way the organisation is being run, and particularly now that it's sort of having its name dragged through the mud, that there's talk of rival tickets emerging where people who are currently on the committee might end up being challenged for their positions. So it's looking less and less like South Australia's premier scone-making organisation, and more like an ALP national conference. So we'll keep paying attention to this, largely because I keep getting contacted by these excellent women who love the organisation, but believe that it might need a bit of a change of direction.
11 minutes past 8 before we get to the Education Minister Blair Boyer. I just want to read this incident out from the weekend. The Glenelg Ferris wheel. Riders on the Ferris wheel got more than they bargained for Saturday night down at the Bay. A computer malfunction saw them stuck in the air for more than half an hour.
Yeah.
Emergency crews had to be called, but luckily the operators managed to switch the Ferris wheel to a manual setting and managed to get everyone down safely. But if you are hoping to get on the Glenelg Ferris wheel when the weather finds up, the ride is actually going to be closed until the glitch can be fixed.
Wouldn't want to spend half an hour stuck up in the air in one of those things.
No, it was nighttime as well, so even more unappealing. We welcome to the conversation on 5AA Breakfast Blair Boyer, the State Education Minister. NAPLAN results have been released this morning across the country, and South Australia's results, shall we say, are less than pleasing. Good morning to you, Minister.
Good morning to you both.
So, Minister, we always seem to do this dance, regardless of whether it's Labor in power or Liberal in power, where we pick out the few best results and say, oh, we've had some improvements there. Now, any gain is good, but overall, the picture's still pretty bleak, is it not?
Well, listen, I'm not really keen on doing the picking the good ones and picking the bad ones so much. I think that data speaks for itself, David. It points to where more work needs to be done, and I think there are the positive kind of stuff looks like it's in the early years 3 and 5 at primary school, and more concerning stuff in the high school years 7 and 9. Most particularly, though, I think around numeracy is where we need to focus our efforts. I think the introduction in South Australia across sort of 2017 and 2018 of a phonics or a literacy check at year 1 has yielded some positive results, which is good. I think we need to look at doing the same thing for numeracy now, around getting that kind of diagnostic check in the early primary years so we know if kids are doing well or if they're struggling. And if they're struggling, we get the supports and extra kind of help quickly so those issues they have around numeracy or literacy aren't ingrained, and then they become really, really hard to change when the kids are older.
Is there a broader argument? We've had texts along these lines this morning that the curriculum has maybe become a bit too cluttered and that...
Crowded.
Yeah, and that maybe some of the more faddish things like, wellness classes and so forth, self-esteem and as good as that is, that perhaps in hindsight the best way to actually give young people self-esteem is to teach them basic skills like how to read and how to count?
Well, there's some truth in that. I don't disagree. I think, though, that, I hear quite a bit as Minister about the curriculum being cluttered. I think the new curriculum, though, that has been started this year, the national curriculum, has made an effort to sort of declutter itself, so to speak. But, I understand and accept your point about self-esteem and making sure kids have the basics so they can read and write is certainly a very important part of self-esteem, because you aren't going to feel any of that. You're not going to feel confident if you can't read, write or anything like that, like your peers. But the wellness stuff, I do think, is important. I think the sort of global kind of well-being of kids in our schools and probably the staff who teach them is on the decline. I think the pandemic added to that. And I sort of struggle with the concept that we're going to get kids to do better at NAPLAN and PISA or whatever the standardised tests might be, if their sort of general well-being, whether their mental health or whatever it might be, is on the decline. I think the two have to be linked together. And if I was going to point to anything in these results, David, I would point to the Year 9 boys stuff, which is particularly concerning.
Yeah, totally.
And that's where you often see that disengagement from school. And I reckon it's that bunch of kids, Year 9 boys, who are probably most disengaged after the pandemic. They might have been in and out of school. Our teacher might have been sick. Stuff might have been happening at home, in family crook, lost work, and I reckon that's played out in the Year 9 boys results. I don't want to use COVID as an excuse for the results. I'm not trying to do that, but the Year 9 boys stuff, I think, does point to a kind of well-being issue. But I also accept what you're saying. We need to teach the basics, and I reckon if we focus on the numeracy check in the early years of primary school, we'll have some good results like we've done with the literacy check that was introduced a few years ago. That's just a practical step.
Yeah, absolutely. Education Minister Blair Boyer, thanks for that. John Gardner, the Shadow Minister for Education, has called in as well. What's your take on it all, Shadow Minister?
Yeah, thanks, Pembo. And look, I don't disagree with really much that the Minister said. The data does speak for itself, and there are some actually pretty good things in the data to look at. Year 3s and Year 5s had their best reading and writing results since the tests began in 2008, and that sort of points to getting those fundamentals right that you talked about. We've introduced the phonics check and a suite of early years of schooling literacy reforms, literacy coaches, making sure that all of our schools are giving kids those foundational skills, and we've now got those strong results for our Years 3s and 5s. And it's a big improvement. Over the last 5 or 6 years, we've gone from the back of the class where we're sort of competing for Tasmania to see who would come last. We've moved in front of Tasmania in the last couple of years, and we've moved well ahead of Queensland. So, look, there is a strong foundation there, and I'm pleased the new government is continuing with the literacy work that we started when we were in government, and I think that the work on numeracy is going to be important in the years ahead.
John Gardner, thank you for that.
Tony from Moffat Vale is a teacher, a primary school teacher, I believe. Morning to you, Tony.
Good morning. In terms of quality education and improving numeracy and literacy skills, we have been in a phase of teaching inquiry-based learning where we provide provocations to students. They go and investigate questions. So it has been about inquiry-based learning. And I think we went away from, and it's coming back, we need to have more direct, explicit instruction where teachers are explaining how we do the concepts, going through steps. So we need direct, explicit instruction. Not all this inquiry-based learning where students get to decide what they want to do, just providing questions, they go and research their own questions.
Yeah.
This tends to happen a lot. And inquiry-based learning, I think, has ruined a lot of the skills that students could be taught.
Yeah. So get back to your job of actually teaching more, Tony, rather than saying to the kids, all right, what would you like to learn about? What would you like to talk about?
That's right, because it was all about building relationships and asking the students what they want to know.
Yeah.
Still providing, some questions where that provoked some questioning, because that was all about critical thinking and students being able to think for themselves. But students don't have the capacity to come up with their own investigations or investigate the work. And it's explaining how to research information. Teachers who are able to instill research methods for their students, not just leaving it up to the students.
Yeah, no, good point. Excellent point. And thanks for calling in.
Thanks for the call,
I was
Tony.
thinking about you during all that, Luce, because, you... And the backdrop to what I'm about to say is that 1 in 9 boys in Australia basically cannot read. That's what these figures show. 1 in every 9 kids who's at school, male students, cannot meet the basic reading standard in this country. Now, you were talking the other day about your love of Harry Potter. What I don't understand, and this is something like I spent as much time when I was coaching the primary school football team talking to them about books and movies, mainly because I don't really know anything about football. But there's this, what I call boys done good syndrome in this country. Boys done good. How often do you hear like an athlete or some bloke talking about something? It's like, oh yeah, boys done good. It's like, no, the boys did well. There's this sort of male, and this goes beyond the education system, there seems to be this like male awkwardness or embarrassment around the idea that you would read a book or that you'd get passionate about a film. Like, how unique is Tom Duday that he comes in here and will spend half the segment talking about what's coming up at the Adelaide Film Festival.
Mm.
You as a woman have no qualms or compunction about saying, I read the best book the other day. But there's this really sad thing with blokes in Australia where you almost feel effeminate or embarrassed if you get passionate about reading something. And I just wish that more blokes would be like you and say, oh yeah, this is great. You know, I read this, or, you know, I saw this. But I don't know why guys sort of seem to replicate this sort of sense where you've almost got to behave dumber than you really are.
Sometimes it's a case of knowing who you are and if you're comfortable with yourself.
Well, yeah.
I'm very comfortable saying that I love reading and I don't watch films. Not because I don't like them, because I fall asleep, or it's just not a passion point.
Yeah.
No qualms about that.
Yeah, but it's not a wanky thing or a showing off thing to say that you've read something. But it feels like for a lot of those young guys who are struggling with it, they're probably sort of all reinforcing their lack of interest in it. And how you get to them is the big challenge, I reckon.
Checking traffic now. After the break, we are chatting about the Adelaide Uni Bar, but with summer just around the corner, beat the rush and get your air conditioning sorted now with Mannix.
Thanks, Lucy. At Christie's Beach, blackout affecting a few traffic lights, including Beach Road at Dyson Road. Take it easy heading through there today. Alpha still look out for road damage due to a rock slide, Stradbroke Road between Montague Road and Gorge Road. Happy Valley, a lane out of action there. Happy Valley Drive near Manning Road, and we're getting busy Fullerton Road at Glen Osmond Road. Look out for camera 2, Main North Road at Blakeview. The ICC Men's T20 World Cup is here. Catch the Aussie team take on Rashid Khan's Afghanistan Friday, November 4 at Adelaide Oval. Tickets at t20worldcup.com. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Rowie and Timmy G on the 5AA Sports Show.
Dual Premiership captain Mark Bickley, welcome to the studio. Now, you said as captain, sometimes it's a burden. You felt like it was a burden. Is that true?
No, I said
were you misquoted?
For some people, it's a burden.
Yeah.
Rowie and Timmy G.
For some people, it is. It's difficult for them.
Not you.
No, I didn't.
Because it couldn't be.
No.
Your first 2 years, the 2 flags. There is no burden.
Got off to a good start. That was always helpful.
4 p.m. weekdays on 5AA.
Hi, it's Frank the Postie. You must be sick of me talking about the 2022 council elections, but time is running out to complete and post back your ballot packs. And if you don't, you'll miss your opportunity to have your say on the future of your community. Your completed ballot pack must be received by 5 p.m. 10 November, so post them now so you don't miss out. Even if you're renting or living at home, voting in the 2022 council elections is your way to have your say on the future of your community. Find out more at councilelections.sa.gov.au. Live local, vote local.
Hey Strikers fans, Peter Siddle here for what promises to be an action-packed BBL season. I can't wait to get back in the Strikers blue this summer, and there's no better sound than the roar of a full Adelaide Oval crowd as some poor batter's stumps go flying. Tickets are on sale now with early bird pricing set to end on Monday the 21st of November. Visit adelaidestrikers.com.au and I look forward to seeing you back at Adelaide Oval this summer.
Of all the trillions of atoms in the universe, how special it is to think that the atoms of comets, volcanoes, brontosauruses and Shakespeare live on in you, me, chainsaws, pizza ovens, decorative garden meerkats. The middle aisle of Aldi Special Pies. It's special, you can buy every Wednesday and Saturday at Aldi. Good. Different.
You don't have to head south to taste your way around McLaren Vale. Just head north to your pals.
Sam and Jamie from Parafield Airport Liquor Store know every drop on the shelf. They can guide you through the McLaren Vale region all under one roof. Whether you're a weekend sommelier or just know you like reds, talk wine with your pals and they'll introduce you to their best McLaren Vale pals. Parafield Airport Liquor Store. Pals, next to Roulette's Tavern, Kings Road, Parafield.
Kate Collins and Brendan Raglas, the faces you know and the team you can trust. 9 News, made in Adelaide for Adelaide.
To book a free 15-minute hearing check, specsavers.com.au/hearing. T's and C's apply.
Breakfast on 5AA. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
8:24. Top of 16 today. It is looking a bit grey, cloudy out there, probably a little bit slippery on the roads. Please drive to conditions. After 8:30, we would love to hear from you. 8223 0000. What has been your favourite gig, band, act that you've seen at Adelaide Uni Bar, regardless of whether you went to Adelaide Uni or not?
Oh, plenty of people went to the Uni Bar, didn't go to the uni.
Absolutely.
Plenty of people went to the Uni Bar who were at uni but never actually went to any lectures.
That's right.
I can name one.
I can also name one.
All the way back to 1975. You might have been there at the very first gig, which from memory was Billy Thorpe and the Aztecs.
We've got Gareth Lewis in studio after 8:30 chatting about the event that you are hosting, David, coming up on the weekend. But for the best gig that you saw at the Uni Bar, we have a double pass to give away to the event. We will get to your calls shortly. Now, some more news coming out this morning. The awful stampede at a Halloween event in South Korea. One Australian was sadly killed. More than 150 people were killed. Sean Na has been following the story in South Korea. He spoke to the Today Show this morning.
I was at the alleyway yesterday afternoon, and then I saw Koreans and foreigners visiting, Itaewon Station exit, which was only about 100 feet away from the deadly alleyway, and then I saw Korean foreigners laying down flowers and putting like wine just to pay condolences to those victims. So people kept coming by from morning until like past midnight. So I am expecting there are still people at the train station, paying tribute to those victims.
National Day of Mourning has been declared in South Korea, and now investigations have started.
It reminded me so much of Hillsborough, the soccer tragedy in the UK in the 1980s, but 80s or 90s, I think it was late 80s, not sure. But one of the theories is that a rumour started that there was some famous pop star in a cafe,
right? And
everyone suddenly surged.
K-pop globally has just global legion of fans.
Yeah. Well, apparently there was some rumour in the crowd that there was some guy from a boy band in a cafe, and the whole crowd just swung and just went. But God, that's just
absolutely
terrible.
Awful. A bit closer to home today is Halloween, of course. Here is Dave Muir from SAPOL earlier chatting about the events.
In relation to Halloween, as you're talking this morning, it's getting bigger and bigger each year in Australia. So we are saying if you're heading out with your kids, set up a safe house arrangement in your neighbourhood, a plan out of houses that you're going to visit on the night. Please be respectful. Look out for the trick-or-treat welcome or not welcome posters. Now, we've got links on our Facebook page where you can download those if you want to put them up at your house. Be aware of the increased pedestrians on the road.
Trick-or-treaters will be out in force tonight, no doubt.
Yes. It has become a huge thing. I wonder if anyone's gone all out with their decorations. If you have, give us a bell on 8223 0000.
Yep, text us in your photos of your front fence.
There's some houses in our area that are as elaborately decorated as they are at Christmas time. Like, some people must spend so much money doing it. It's extraordinary.
It's a real... I was about to say price point. It's not a price point. It's a date marker, an anniversary. You get to Halloween, October 31. Everyone knows when it is.
It's probably one of those things too where think of Pelham Street down at Semaphore Parkway, where it's almost like every single house, save for like 2 or 3 holdouts in Pelham Street, does the Christmas decorations, and it's at that point now, Halloween, where it's becoming, in some areas, a bit of a critical mass thing, where it goes from 2 houses to then 1 year it's 4, then it's 7. Like, there are parts of town now that are really becoming the Halloween hotspots.
8:28 coming up after 8:30. The news with Mel, followed by Adelaide Uni Bar music gigs that you remember. Possibly you don't remember all of them. Just your favourite Adelaide Uni gig. We'll be chatting with Gareth Lewis, followed by Sunrise's David Kosh.
The passing of someone close places unique stress on family and friends. At this time, Farrell and O'Neill Funerals are here to provide reassurance and peace of mind. Farrell and O'Neill offer creative guidance and advice to tailor a service that best honours your loved one. Whether a large gathering or a small, intimate service, Farrell and O'Neill share their generations of experience in tailoring a unique and meaningful farewell. Proudly SA family-owned and operated, because it's personal.
Mini Jumbuck, now in McLaren Vale, make Australia's favourite wool bedding products, proudly made right here in South Australia. Mini Jumbuck uses the finest Australian wool to handcraft their quilts, mattress toppers, pillows and more. If you're looking to improve your quality of sleep, start with a visit to Mini Jumbuck McLaren Vale today. You'll find some great specials in store, along with fabulous gift ideas for adults and children, or to spoil yourself. Mini Jumbuck McLaren Vale, open 7 days, Australian made, Australian owned.
Let's say you've signed a building contract. Work is then underway on your dream home and everyone's excited, but one day, crunch, your builder hits a rock while digging your footings.
So what happens next? It's a nightmare scenario, and what generally happens is most builders will send you a nicely worded letter and then bump up the price with a variation.
But not Rossdale Homes. When you sign their absolute fixed price contract, there are no hidden costs or nasty surprises. The price is fixed. That's why it's the industry's strongest contract.
So before you build, talk to Adelaide's most trusted builder, Rossdale Homes, because trust is a must.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube. This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Showers and 16 today with the 8:30 news. I'm Mel Usher. A 32-year-old man from the northern suburbs has been charged after crashing his car twice in the space of an hour last night. A breath test showed he was nearly 4 times over the legal limit. Senior Constable Dave Muir says the drama started with a 2-car collision on Keene Avenue at Manopara West.
Now, the driver of a silver Toyota had actually left that crash scene shortly after the crash and before we actually arrived. About an hour later, we got called to another crash, this time on Riggs Hill Road at Gawler South. A silver Toyota had left the road and actually crashed into a ditch.
2 teenagers have been arrested after they allegedly broke into cars in Clemzig early this morning. Around 1:15, police were alerted to cars being broken into on Vine Terrace. An hour later, they were called to a service station on North East Road at Greenacres after 2 girls verbally abused staff and allegedly stole items from inside. A search of the area located the teens, who matched the description of the offenders. A 14-year-old from Elizabeth North and 16-year-old from Campbelltown were arrested and charged with various offences. They'll front court at a later date. Labor's first budget in almost a decade has failed the hip pocket test, with most voters giving it the thumbs down. Michael Packey has more.
The latest news polls show support for Jim Chalmers' first budget as the nation's new treasurer has missed the mark, with almost half the 1,500 people surveyed believing they'll be worse off next year, especially as higher energy prices kick in. Labor is defending its financial blueprint, arguing it delivers targeted cost of living measures as well as reining in some spending. The poll also shows the opposition and Liberal leader Peter Dutton are making steady ground over the federal government.
SA classrooms are in the spotlight. The annual NAPLAN results have been labelled an overall fail, with no year level achieving the national average in any of the annual tests. Shadow Education Minister John Gardner, who looked after the portfolio under the previous government, says there are some positive signs.
Year 3 and 5 students have had the best reading and writing results since the tests began. Now Year 3s have also had their best results in spelling.
More than 1 in 2 Optus customers are contemplating changing telcos in the wake of the data breach. The annual EFTM mobile phone survey finding 56% of current customers answered yes when asked if they were considering making the switch. 10% have already done so. Now turning to 5AA Sport.
10-year warranty and 10-year capped price servicing at Agostino Mitsubishi, Nailsworth and Elizabeth.
And some breaking news, Tom Ring.
Yeah, absolutely. Regarding Formula One's, Mel, Max Verstappen's record-breaking season continuing, taking out his 14th win, winning in Mexico this morning. He won ahead of Lewis Hamilton, while Sergio Perez was third. Aussie Daniel Ricciardo did a lot better. He came 7th. Meantime, Shane van Gisbergen's dominance in the V8s was underlined with his 5th straight win and 21st victory on the Gold Coast yesterday.
For the 21st time this championship season, Shane van Gisbergen is at the top of the tree.
Audio there thanks to Fox. Australia will take on Ireland tonight in their T20 World Cup match in Brisbane at the Gabba. The Aussies must win to keep their semi-final hopes alive. Well, Adelaide United has recorded its first win of the A-League season, beating the Perth Glory 2-1 at Hindmarsh. Meantime, Arsenal is back on top of the EPL table following a 5-0 smashing of Nottingham Forest. Young gun Reece Nelson bagging a double before skipper Martin Odegaard cemented the 5-star performance.
Jesus to Odegaard to thump in another one. The captain gets in on the act for Arsenal, who have their 5th goal. They are turning on the style as they return to the top of the table.
That call there on Optus. To baseball, the Houston Astros have levelled up the World Series at 1 game apiece after a 5-2 win at home against the Philadelphia Phillies.
The one-strike pitch. Stott on the ground. Altuve's got it. And he throws out Stott to end the ball game.
Audio thanks to ESPN. Game 3 to be played in Philly tomorrow morning, our time. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
At Christie's Beach, we've got a blackout affecting a few traffic lights today, including Beach Road at Dyson Road. At Wingfield, diesel spill on South Terrace under the overpass. Pretty slippery, so take extra care there. Castanbul, a rock slide has caused road damage on Gorge Road near Corkscrew Road. Got a large boulder on the road at the moment. And we're busy Fullerton Road at Glen Osmond Road. Cameras today, Bridge Road, Salisbury East and Ridley Grove at Ferreton Park. Equip your business for what's ahead with NAB Equipment Finance. Search NAB Equipment Finance. NAB, more than money. T's and C's, fees and charges and lending criteria apply. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Now the 5AA forecast.
See any issue firsthand with AutoCam. Real-time video, direct to you from your Automaster's technician.
Showers 16 for your Monday, showers tomorrow 15, Wednesday a shower or two 17. Right now it's 13 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Landlords, every day your rental property is vacant, it's costing you money.
If you're a landlord looking for a quality tenant, Toop and Toop's CEO of Property Management, Susanna Toop, can point you in the right direction.
Absolutely. We have just launched a new innovation for our clients. Toop and Toop landlords can now secure a tenant up to 2 months in advance and before their property becomes vacant. This new innovation allows landlords to tap into our extensive pre-screened tenant network. We know who is actively looking for rental properties across Adelaide, and we are giving our clients access to this valuable information.
So you can start looking for a quality tenant without incurring advertising costs?
That's right, it's the perfect way to find your next tenant, ahead of time. On average, we meet over 600 tenants at our open homes each month, and it's not only landlords that benefit, it's great for tenants too. Toop and Toop is giving tenants the opportunity to secure a home up to 2 months sooner and before they become publicly available.
To register, simply head to toop.com.au/rent.
To book a free 15-minute hearing check, specsavers.com.au/hearing. T's and C's apply.
Breakfast on 5AA. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
8:37 on 5AA Brekkie with David, Lucy and our guest in studio, Gareth Lewis. Morning
Very
to you,
excited
Gareth.
about this.
Good morning to you both.
Great to have you in here, Gareth. Now, we had Mark Seymour, formerly of the Hunters and Collectors, on the show last week, and we were talking to him about the excellent Tivoli Hotel and what a role that played in Adelaide's musical history. Well, one venue that has done so much of the excellent heavy lifting music-wise is the one that you're now heading up as the chief booker there. You're a guy who's committed to making Adelaide a funner place to be, also through your work at the Beer and Barbecue Festival. But the Uni Bar, it's been an institution, and it's finally getting the recognition that it deserves.
Look, it's certainly been an institution. I went to uni myself there and spent way too much time at the Uni Bar in my failed commerce degree career.
But look how you've turned out now.
Yeah, it's sort of full circle. Yeah.
That's right. But the event, it's not just a concert with a whole bunch of great bands this Saturday, but we're now getting better at cherishing our musical history here because we'll set up the South Australian Music Hall of Fame.
Yeah, look, the South Australian Music Hall of Fame is a great initiative. It's run by the Adelaide Music Collective and started a few years ago. There's been about 150 inductees so far. Only a few of them have been venues. Most of them have been musicians, obviously. And we're pretty honoured to be the current custodians of Uni Bar and we'll be inducted to that Hall of Fame this Saturday and throwing a little party to celebrate.
So when we caught up to talk about the event last week, because we're going to kick it off with a bit of a panel discussion, one of the guys who's going to be there is Barry Salter, who was in charge of the bar and a lot of the bookings as well.
Barry's just texted us.
Has he really?
Most popular acts in the Uni Bar, the Bodgies, Spank You Very Much, Exploding White Mice, The Cruel Sea, Doug Anthony All-Stars. Barry Salter, Activities Officer, Adelaide Uni, 1980 to 1992.
How good is that?
Thanks, Barry.
Now, wasn't one of the first acts that played there Billy Thorpe and the Aztecs? Is that right?
Yeah, look, I connected with Barry. He reached out to us, actually. We sort of lost touch with him. The university had lost touch with him, but he was an integral part to the operation back then. The first O-Ball was headlined by Billy Thorpe and the Aztecs. He let us know. Yeah,
sensational. And, of course, one of the headline bands this Saturday is another band that was only a few months ago inducted into the Hall of Fame, which is the Mark of Cain.
That's right, yeah, the Mark of Cain, one of my favourite bands, and I think you're a fan. But
love them.
They would have played dozens of times throughout the 90s at the Uni Bar.
Usually came on about 2 o'clock in the morning and you couldn't hear for the next 48 hours after attending one of their gigs. Now, we said we'd give away a double pass for this Saturday to the first caller through who could recall their best gig at the Uni Bar. We have Sam on the line.
Morning, Sam.
Morning, boys. Morning, Lucy, and what a lovely job you're doing too, Lucy.
Thank you. Sam, what was your best gig at Adelaide Uni Bar?
1983, Jimmy Barnes with Cold Chisel. It absolutely was a superb concert. Only one problem. At the end, it bucketed down. It absolutely dropped it because it was outside back then.
How good would that have been? Seeing
big
them
name.
in a nice small room like that. Absolutely fantastic. James has called in as well from Collinswood. What's your favourite memory, James?
Well, I have a couple, but the guy just talked about Jimmy Barnes. I reckon that was an O-ball, and I have a very clear memory of Jimmy Barnes climbing up scaffolding with the microphone down the pants and the vodka in the other hand, and singing a song from about 5 metres up on the stage before jumping down and continuing to drink his vodka and sing.
Now, he's a clean living man now, though, Jim. You wouldn't catch him doing that anymore.
And also have a vague remembering of Sandy and the Sunsets.
Oh, really?
I don't know whether, yeah.
That must have been the night they didn't start a riot. Sticky music.
Thank you, James.
Good on you, James.
Thank you.
And I think there's Barry in Campbelltown rung in as well.
Hey, Barry, how you going?
Hi, how are you?
We're good, Barry. What's your favourite memory?
Okay, early 70s. On different levels in the refectory. Axiom.
Yep.
Billy Thorpe and the Aztecs. Doug Parkinson in Focus. And the Levi Smith Clefs.
Oh, wow.
And they had one band play, and as they stopped, the other band started. As they stopped, the other band started.
Excellent.
Thank you,
Sounds
Barry.
like a cracking night. Thanks to all of those callers. And as we said, Sam got through first. He gets the double pass. Gareth, thanks for coming in, mate. We'll see you Saturday.
Thank you very much.
If people just want to get tickets, how do they do that?
If you jump on either our Facebook page, the Uni Bar Facebook page, there'll be a link on there, or just get the old Google machine out and in the day Mosh Ticks or Uni Bar Mosh Ticks will be the first one that comes up.
Fantastic. Gareth Lewis, thanks for coming in, mate. We'll see you Saturday.
Cheers.
Thank you so much, Gareth. Good old Uni Bar. Lots of memories. Matt texted in as well. Good morning, guys. A band I saw every time they came to town was Def FX. They made the Uni Bar pump. Hot, sweaty, techno, thrash, surfy music bliss.
Excellent.
There's a review for you. Let's check traffic with summer just around the corner. Beat the rush. Get your air conditioning sorted now with Mannix.
Thanks, Lucy. At Christie's Beach, there's a blackout affecting a few traffic lights, including Beach Road at Dyson Road. Take it easy through there today. Wingfield, diesel spill on South Terrace under the overpass. That's really slippery at the moment. Slow down if you're heading through there. Castanbull, a rock slide has caused road damage on Gorge Road near Corkscrew Road. Got a large boulder on the road, speeds reduced. And we're busy right now, Fullerton Road at Glen Osmond Road. Look out for cameras, Port Road, Cheltenham and Wommer Road at Penfield. Amplify Premium Fuels, clean and protect your engine so you can go further with every tank. Powering our way of life. Ampol, Australia's own. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Everyday low prices, any time of year. Trust the mighty South Aussies. Great food lives here. Foodland, the mighty South Aussies, yeah. Foodland, the mighty South.
You're watching the 5AA live stream, thanks to Foodland.
Mighty South Aussies, yeah.
Health? Get your free copy of Australia's only independent consumer guide to hearing aids. Call 1800 693 277 now or visit connecthearing.com.au. No excuse not to.
Now, the AHASA Awards were held recently, and our great friends at Najobi would like to congratulate all of the nominees and winners.
They would also like to especially congratulate all the restaurants and hotels that use their Najobi beef, the grass-fed, locally and ethically grown beef, pork and lamb.
Najobi is proud to supply your kitchens and inspire your chefs.
They've also won multiple awards, that is Najobi meat, so if you're looking to add a little extra class and quality to your dish at home, try some.
You can order it direct from najobi.com.au, that's najobe.com.au, or visit them at the Adelaide Farmers Market every Sunday.
Imagine becoming a multi-millionaire overnight. That could be you with South Australia's biggest grand prize ever in the St John Christmas Home Lottery. The $5 million grand prize includes a fully furnished, luxurious North Adelaide residence, a stunning beachfront holiday home overlooking the iconic Encounter Bay, plus $1 million cash. With massive weekly draws, you could win big on your way to the grand prize. Buy your tickets now at stjohnlottery.com.au. Licence number M14265.
Do you hear that? It's back. The sound of rivalries ready to be unleashed. The sound of thousands of fans ready to rock. The sound of the most epic entertainment ever. The sound of the streets calling. It's the sound of the FIVEAA Adelaide 500. Returning December 1st to 4th. Visit adelaide500.com.au.
Kate Collins and Brendan Raglas, the faces you know and the team you can trust. 9 News, made in Adelaide for Adelaide.
To book a free 15-minute hearing check, specsavers.com.au/hearing. T's and C's apply.
Breakfast on 5AA. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
It's about 8:45. Will is, of course, having a few extra days of paternity leave with little Rosie and his wife Alison at home. We're sure they're all doing well. She's now a week and 3 or 4 days old.
Yep.
Exciting time in the Goodings household. Before we get to host of Sunrise, David Koch, let's quickly check our fuel watch this morning. Find the cheapest fuel in an instant. Download the free My RAA app from your app store today. Most servos around the $2 mark. But if you are elsewhere and see a cheap spot, please fill up. In the north, $1.68 at the United Phillip Highway, Elizabeth South. In the west, $1.69 at the Coles Express on Findon Road in Findon. Also in the east, it's $1.69 at the X-Convenience on OG Road in Clemzig. And there's a real theme here. The X-Convenience, $1.69 if you're in the south on Shearer Drive in Seaford. Cheapest diesel still sitting at this price, $2.27 on Grange Road in Fulham Gardens.
Diesel hasn't been below $2.20 for as long as I can remember. It's crazy. Hey, another traffic-related news. A mate's just texted me, Robert, lives out in the eastern suburbs, northeastern suburbs. There's a giant redback spider on Newton Road, Campbelltown. But it's actually, I'm just looking at the photo that he sent in now. Someone has done a great job with it. It's massive, but it's made out of, looks like it's steel covered in paper mache or something.
Also like a Halloween decoration.
Yeah, look at it. I'm holding it up now.
Oh.
We'll put it up on the live
Yeah,
stream.
we'll tweet that. I thought he meant it as a joke that there was a redback spider in his car, and therefore there's been a hold-up.
This is about 6 foot wide, and it's on the side of...
Right, there's a 6-foot redback spider. Whereabouts in the northeast?
Newton Road.
Newton Road.
Yeah,
If you're there, check it out. We welcome to the show David Koch, host of Channel 7 Sunrise. Morning to you, Koshy.
Hello, Lucy. Pimbo, how are you, mate?
We're good, thank you, Dave. Now, the girls have finished their season. One win, which is good. There's plenty of sides that on debut don't manage to trouble the scorer at all. But as a new side, there's plenty of stuff they can hold their heads high about, isn't there?
Oh, I'm really proud of them because, when you think that at the very last moment, the season was brought forward a couple of months and started soon after the draft. All four expansion teams were certainly up against it because they didn't really have the pre-season of the other clubs. And we wanted to build a great foundation for our W program. We've got a great leadership group. Lauren Arnell is an absolute star, first year of coaching, and she has impressed us no end. And I've got to say, the Port Adelaide family has just embraced them. Would you believe at the end of this first season, we have the highest home ground attendance of any club in the league?
Yeah, it's good to see.
That's a massive testament to how our members and supporters have embraced the girls. They played the Port Adelaide way. They play a tough way. And I reckon a full pre-season under their belt, it's our high-performance team is saying get a full pre-season into them. It will be an enormous difference in the second season. So we built the foundations. We've got great facilities. They're regarded as being one of the best in the AFLW. Great team of leaders around the group. So, yeah, there's a lot to like about our first season. Of course, we would have wanted to win more games, but I reckon there's a lot of promise there. We're very happy.
Hey, Kosha, we haven't caught up since the budget last week. Geez, that made grim old reading, and unsurprisingly, today's news poll shows how it's about as popular as European carp with the voters in terms of what it means for the cost of living crunch. But tomorrow, obviously, Cup Day, and not for the first time coinciding with a Reserve Bank meeting. Do you think we're going to continue to see the household mortgage being kicked around?
Yes. Yep. I reckon we'll see another 0.25% tomorrow, maybe another 0.25% on top of that in December, and I reckon that could be it.
Hopefully.
I'm not one of these who think we've got another 1.5% to go in official interest rate increases. I reckon probably another 0.5%. The Reserve Bank is really aware of protecting jobs, which I think is a really good thing. The state of the housing market. So we're in pretty good shape as an economy as well. Yes, there's a big budget deficit, but as I put to Jim Chalmers, he's carried on the long-held tradition of fudging the revenue figures to give them a massive safety net. Our two biggest exports are iron ore and coal. And currently, the iron ore price is around $90 a tonne, and thermal coal is $400 a tonne. In the budget, they've assumed a price of $55 for iron ore and $60 a tonne for coal. So that is billions and billions of tax revenue that is sort of under-assumed in the budget. So the economy is in pretty good shape. Labour market is strong. We've all got jobs. Inflation will drop pretty substantially next year. You can see the early signs of that with supply chains opening up and all of that. So
I guess the only big thing that leaves for us to grapple with is paying our power bills.
Yeah, enormous. But if it's any consolation, it's a lot better than overseas.
Well, that's true.
In the UK and Europe, it is diabolical. And so the government will move on that with trying to bring prices down for local access to gas and below world markets. And that'll be a good thing. So all in all, fragile time, put it that way, but certainly not doom and gloom. And unemployment is still incredibly low, and that's the really big thing. You want families to have an income.
Yeah.
And that's really important.
100%. David Kosh from Sunrise on 7. Great to chat to you as always, mate. We'll catch up again next week. We're asking Luce before about what are the Halloween hotspots around town.
Oh, yes.
Bit of inside running. Apparently Cumberland Avenue in Cumberland Park is one of the places to go, just down there near the Big W on corner of Goodwood and Cross Road. Whoever's texted in, they didn't leave their name, but they said they spoke to one resident last year. They had more than 500 visitors trick-or-treating. I tell you what, put the sign up if you don't want to be door-knocked in Cumberland Avenue.
Someone else has suggested Rose Terrace. Is that in Wayville, I'm assuming?
Yeah, there's a few houses around there.
Yes, Rob as well. This is great, Rob. We are one and the same, guys. Halloween, the only time of the year my laziness in not clearing cobwebs about my house works to my advantage. I'm with
Spent
you,
the whole year preparing for it.
I'm with you, Rob. Let's get to behind closed doors, all thanks to Aussie Fast Transport Solutions, interstate freight, distribution, warehousing and local Adelaide couriers. Call Aussie Fast on 13 13 64.
And when we get behind closed
1395. Adelaide's 5AA. This is Andrew Reimer.
Welcome back to the program on 1395 Interactive Adelaide's 5AA on your AM dial. If you want to be interactive, then my interactive phone number is 8223 or you can SMS me on 04488 Dave has given us a call and wants to be interactive. Hello, Dave.
Oh, g'day, Andrew.
How are you tonight, Dave?
Oh, pretty good, Andrew, but I've got to tell you, mate, I am sick to death of all this garbage on television.
Oh, yes, well...
All this reality TV's not reality, it's rubbish, and they're just playing to the lowest common denomination.
Denominator,
And every time you watch this stuff, you just make it worse, because the TV station thinks, great, everybody's watching.
Well, not unless you've got a people meter attached to your television.
What's that?
They don't know you're watching it unless
It's the ratings. It's all about the ratings. That's what it is.
Yes,
and
but it makes no difference if you don't have
they don't watch this garbage, and they'll have to put something else on for us people who like a bit of intellectual stipulation.
Yes, well, a lot of it's making us all dumber. That's why they call it the idiot box.
Yeah, that's right. You've hit the nail on the button there, Andrew.
They were going to call it the Dave box, but they changed their mind.
What's that?
Thanks for your call, Dave. Now, I've got the lotto numbers for you if you've got a pencil. And let's face it, there's nothing more entertaining than reading out numbers very slowly. Here they are. Are you ready? 7, 9. It's good, isn't it? 42. Imagine tuning in for the first time. You'd be pleasantly surprised, wouldn't you? 6, 22. And for those of you who don't have a lotto ticket, you can still feel the excitement of the people who do, can't you? I like to build the tension. 3. That's what it's all about. And the supplementaries, yes. Just when you thought it was all over, I come back with a couple of zingers. 16 and 13. Lucky for some. Boom, boom.
Thank you, John Blake, with another Andrew Reimer behind closed doors. Hey, it is Monday. It is a dreary Monday, but I've reached into our little prizing pool here. I'm going to treat someone to the ballet.
Oh, lottie that.
So if you are a fan of the ballet, give Sam and Jono a buzz out in the booth, 8223 0055. First caller through gets a double to see the Ukrainian Ballet of Swan Lake, Wednesday, 9th of November at Adelaide Festival Centre.
They were on in Sydney on the weekend. They were on at the convention centre.
Yeah, shame I can't win that. I love the ballet.
I've only been once. Remember we did that a few years ago because I went and saw Nijinsky.
Yeah.
And then we gave one of our listeners the chance to go. And I can't remember the bloke's name. You might be listening. Text us or ring us if you are. But they did a review. We did it on air.
Yeah. Ballet's beautiful. We are giving away ballet tickets all week, though.
Now, speaking of the high arts, Luce. John Kay texted in, apropos our Christmas discussion earlier.
Yes.
He wants to know if you've seen Die Hard. Please tell me you've seen Die Hard.
Look, I haven't seen Die Hard, but he says it's his favourite Christmas movie. I don't think it is a Christmas movie. Isn't it just that it's situated
it's set
Christmas time?
At Christmas. It has got the...
But it's not about Christmas.
It has got the great ho, 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 now I've got a machine gun scene in it, which is one of the great scenes.
Sam has thrown up his arms in absolute disgust at that comment. Our ballet winner...
It is a Christmas movie.
Myra from Parkside is off to the Ukrainian Ballet 9th of November, Adelaide Festival Centre. We are going to give tickets away all this week, and as well to the National Pharmacy's Christmas pageant.
I'm afraid that Mr. Najomi will not be joining us for the rest of his life. Remember that line, Lise? You don't, do you? Because you haven't seen Die Hard. I'm adding it to the list.
You could say many movie a quote, and I wouldn't know any of them.
Going to have to get a bigger notepad.
How it's going to be. We'll be back tomorrow morning from 6. Will be off on a few more days paternity leave, but David and I tomorrow. But coming up after 9 o'clock, it's Leon Biner. We'll catch you then.
Hey Rick, it's Chris from Automasters. Just thought I'd give you a quick rundown on some of the things on the car.
Now you can see what we see.
Just want to show you 2 little things.